Hey everyone, it's me, Sean Capri, and we are live on youtube.com/WeTheNerdy, and you know that because you're here, and we're here to talk about the Game of the Year for 2017, and a whole bunch of other random awards. This is WeTheNerdy.com's official Game of the Year celebration. I'm here with a bunch of idiots. Just kidding, I love you all. Actually, we're here with a mastermind, Garret Bland.
Hi, how's it going? I'm not a mastermind.
You're a mastermind. We're here with a masturbator, Handziuk, Semicek.
Oh shit, wrong person.
Whoa. I don't have any more master anything. We've got master of the mic, Berto.
Hi.
And master millennial, Alex. Handziuk.
I was scared with how that was going to turn out, but
me too, man. You just got to roll with it. I don't even know what's going to happen next. I do know that we're going to spend the next little bit talking about the best games of 2017. I'm so excited. I've already just kind of got a sense from talking to you guys and from the votes from the rest of the people at We The Nerdy that we could have a contentious night. So before we get into it, I want to thank everybody in the chat for being here. Bobby, Dr. Doom, Mr. James Johnson. We've got Jonathan Brown, Purple Monkey Entertainment, and maybe even more to come. So if you guys want to go ahead and give a thumbs up to the video, that would be great. And we're going to have the chat weigh in as much as we can here too. Not that... you know what? I'm just going to make it as we go. We could have the chat determine the We The Nerdy Game of the Year. I don't know.
Whoa. I mean, they're probably wrong.
You're probably right. All right, I'm not going to do all the talking, but at the start here, I'm just going to get things rolling, and I'm actually going to have kind of a quiet night. I'll let these guys do most of the arguing. But the ground rules. Myself and Andrew will have the final say on what the award for every category goes to. But... So that leaves it to you guys to put forth your best arguments. And the other thing that Andrew and I have to do is fight for those who can't fight for themselves. So we have a tally and compilation of all the votes from all the editors from We The Nerdy, and we will try to put our best fight forward for those games, Andrew. That's our task for tonight. But the other three... Let's see how this goes. Okay, any questions? Because you guys didn't know any of that until just now when I said it.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
What makes Andrew so special?
Just as a side note, I want to let all you guys know that one of you's getting fired tonight before this thing's over. So
that's not news.
Oh man, I still have a job. Like,
I mean, so actually, you don't pay me. So
people in the chat can actually vote who gets fired tonight. So
it's gonna be a good time, man.
Is this Game of the Year Survivor?
Yeah, we vote.
No.
We're gonna vote some of you guys out as the. Actually, that's what the chat should do. Just like every once in a while, we'll just have a vote, and 1, 2, 3, 4 gets one of you guys out. That's not what we're gonna do. But before we really get into it, guys, because we have a lot to talk about tonight, and some people have to get to bed. Andrew, because he's old. But what we're gonna do before we get into the chat is kind of go around the table. Kind of let's talk about how our year was, the games that you liked that you played, and maybe some regrets that you maybe had. And Andrew, I'm going to start with you because I feel bad for putting everybody else on the spot, but I don't feel bad about putting you on the spot. So how was your 2017, man? Like overall, like how was your gaming, your personal reflection on gaming in 2017?
Too many games. Way too many games.
You got through a bunch of them though. Like you were doing your quick time reviews and everything. You spent at least 5 minutes with a whole bunch of games this year.
I did. I feel like a whore. That's really what it felt like. I was whoring myself out for video games this year.
Okay, you did things you weren't proud about?
No. I played Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and I feel... Oh shit, I forgot about that game.
Yeah, you should feel dirty about that.
Because that game is a piece of shit!
Did you play that bikini game? No, you didn't do anything you don't feel bad about. I feel bad about the game you made me play. That bikini horror game.
You had a boner for a week, Chris.
And a half.
We're being told by the Nintendo guru himself that Andrew should lower the boom on his headset mic. Is that what that is? That's right up by your head? Is that
No, I'm using it for audio right now. I'm using my snowball mic for the actual audio itself.
Oh, just like Bob. It sounds like you're in the bathroom, but that's okay. We're gonna move on to Garret. How was your gaming year, man? You had a huge year. You look totally different from the last time that I saw you, by the way.
Oh, is that good or bad?
You look very handsome.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, this year's been just a roller coaster because I've been moving and doing everything. But what my saving grace, I've been traveling too with my new position and everything. I love the Switch so much.
Nice.
I travel with it. I play it exclusively on handheld. Like I barely play it on my TV. I just love to pick up that thing and just lay on the couch and watch Netflix while I just play whatever. So I feel like the highlight for me this year was definitely the Switch. What Nintendo brought was amazing, and what they brought, two masterpieces of games, and alongside that, just unlimited indie games just all around.
I totally agree. Arms and Rabbids were just like totally masterpiece games. Yeah, nothing else really even compared to Arms and Mario Rabbids.
So
we got 1, 2 Switch.
Oh, I forgot about 3 masterpieces. You're right. You're right.
It's
3
fantastic.
masterpieces, of course. Well, this answers one of the questions that I was sort of asking myself as I was prepping, 5 minutes ago before this, and thinking like, what kind of representation do we have for Nintendo and across the board? That's kind of what I wanted to get into before we start talking about every individual award. Chris, how was your year, man? And actually, I'm going to ask you, is there any games that like you regret not getting around to, or something like that is on your wish list that will just move into your backlog now?
So, as most of you guys know, I just had baby number 2, who I might have to grab here in a second. But
bring her on.
So, if she keeps crying, I will have to get her. But my backlog is insane, and I'm on paternity leave right now, so I'm knocking out as many games of 2017 as I can before 2018 really starts kicking off with Dragon Ball FighterZ.
Ooh, yeah, man.
At the end of this month. But the game that I actually missed last year was Wolfenstein 2. I never got to play it. Now, it's on my bucket list. I have it on Steam. I bought it. It's sitting on my computer. But I'm going through beating... I just got done doing World War II.
Yep,
Call of Duty. I just did the Uncharted DLC. I did the Horizon Best Game of the Year DLC. And I did... I'm working my way through the South Park butthole right now.
Yes, you are.
So I'm working my way through Cartman's butthole right now. And when I'm done with that, I've got Assassin's Creed Origins to try to plow through.
I was just been playing that.
But the next one I want to do, because I'm trying to change the pace of how gameplay types. The next one is going to be Wolfenstein. That's the big one that I really wanted to get on when it was first out, and I just missed it. I had too much going on, new job, new baby, and all kinds of craziness. So
holy crap,
that's
man.
the one I'm really.
And you had a hurricane this year.
And half my roof came off as a hurricane, so that was fun.
It's been a year, man.
Irma flooded us out for a little bit. So it's been a fun year, and like Garrett mentioned, the Switch was my kind of saving grace. That thing is fantastic, and you and other people who are watching know I am a lapsed Nintendo fan. I was off the Nintendo train for a long time, and that Switch dropped, and I'll like everybody else. I wish every game I played was on the Switch. I want all my games on the Switch. I just want them to look like they do on my PC.
You know, Bobby tuned in just to like say hi, but now you've really just sort of like got both his head and his penis just like throbbing right now. You just got him really excited.
Fully erect.
Well, that's the thing. It throbs, and it could be a hubby. It could just be a half chubby.
Oh man,
Alex, dude, this is the first time you and I have been able to sort of like interact outside of just like the Facebook.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
And it's live on YouTube, so.
Well, what the hell? Like, we don't want any other production around this other than just like shit it out there and see what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, tell me about your gaming style in general, because I don't know much about what you play, and then get into your 2017 a little bit.
Yeah, so I am basically strictly Nintendo, except for the PlayStation 2 and the PSP. So it's been like I had the Wii, I had the Wii U. Kind of fortunately. I remember when the Wii U was out, I would Google Wii U in the morning and be like, oh, is there going to be good news? And there really wasn't a lot of it.
And it's like, did you mean the Wii? Like Google was trying to push you back to the old system?
Yeah.
You mean the Wii?
Yeah.
Can I tell you a funny story about the Wii U real quick? I've been trying to find protective cases, because I have a Wii U now for my kids. I'm trying to find a protective case for the gamepad. Those things are like $50 now.
Yeah, man.
You can probably get a Wii U for cheaper. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
But
you get him a Vita. Get him a real system.
Oh man, a Vita.
I traded my Vita in.
Don't trade in hardware. Don't trade in hardware.
I will trade in what I want.
All right, take it easy. We're talking to Alex here, Andrew. You had your chance.
But yeah, it's been mostly Nintendo. Got a 3DS, and then my Wii U broke a month before the Switch came out. So
no way.
It worked out perfectly. And and actually my Wii broke a month before the Wii U came out. So it's sort of like weird hardware timing. But the
It's super
Switch has been
cosmic.
great, and it launched great with Zelda, and then in the summer I kind of had a cooled off period. But I played Overwatch, and I'm wearing an Overwatch hat because Overwatch is probably it'd be my game of the year, but it didn't come out this year, so there's all that happening.
That's actually
And,
really slick. You're kind of hiding that a little bit. That's pretty nice, man. I like that. What's your headset too? Your headset is really nice too.
It's a headset one.
Oh,
Yeah.
sweet. Okay.
I say you're not really sure.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Guys, do you want to lead up to the game of the year, or do you want to
Yes.
start with the big one?
No, we're leading
Let's
it up.
end on the kaboom.
Okay. Well, okay. Let's go with some maybe. This is kind of a weird one, but let's see what kind of discussions we get out of this, because this could be either a really quick thing or maybe a more involved type of thing. The last award that we're gonna give away, but we're gonna do it first. The Publisher of the Year. Okay.
Ooh.
I thought this was an interesting
Publisher.
thing. This is something that not everybody's doing, but this is Publisher of the Year nomination. We've got Annapurna Interactive, we've got Ubisoft, Bethesda, Ubisoft, Guerrilla Games. We're gonna go around the horn. That's what we're gonna do here, guys. We'll have Alex, Chris, and Garrett sound off, and then maybe if there's time, Andrew, you'll be allowed to speak. And so I kind of wanted to go. Alex, I don't have yours listed here, but why don't we get started off with you, man?
I have to say, Publisher of the Year. It's not on the list, but it's got to be Nintendo. I mean, they came out with the Switch. They've come out with like 5 or 6 great.
Was it just me who lost him a little bit?
No, he died.
So
They've had Wolfenstein.
He's gone.
Oh, no.
That's okay. We're gonna have him come back. Chris, why don't we go straight to you, man? What was your vote for?
Guerrilla Games.
Yeah, man. Tell me about it.
Guerrilla Games. Listen.
Do they
okay,
publish
so-
games?
that's a developer.
Wait, what did you say? You said publisher or developer?
Publisher.
Publisher.
Publisher. Bethesda.
Okay, man. Tell me about Bethesda's year,
Bethesda.
because I'm not arguing with you, because I think Bethesda had a stellar year.
Of the ones that you named, Bethesda for me knocked out of the park. I mean, I haven't personally played Wolfenstein 2. Okay, I did play last year's game of the year, Doom. That's a Bethesda game, isn't it? Bethesda Machine Games.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm trying to keep my daughter from throwing up on me. No, they knocked out of the park. I mean, you didn't list Nintendo. I think I just lost his name. Alex mentioned it. Sorry. Nintendo and Bethesda for me. I'm a little distracted right now. I do apologize. They're the ones I spent the most time playing their games this year between those two. If I had to give an edge, it'd probably be Nintendo. Again, you didn't mention them in your list, but Nintendo, I probably spent the most time playing Nintendo games this year out of everybody, just through sheer number of games available on the Switch released by that company all in the first year. I mean, they really knocked it out of the park. Brought me back into the fold, as I mentioned earlier.
I tend to forget about Nintendo overall, just as a publisher. Like, I definitely think of them like
because
making
they're-
the games, but certainly
They do everything.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Garrett, man, I'm kind of switching back and forth here between. We got a giant list. Garrett, you picked. What did you pick, man? What's your publisher of
Ubisoft.
the year? Okay, so that was my pick as well. So let's preach a little bit here.
So the repertoire, the game releases coming out this year was like all over the place. We got Mario plus Rabbids for the Switch. Which
Yes.
is excellent. Still need to finish that game. They got Ghost Recon Wildlands. They got For Honor. They got Assassin's Creed Origins coming back with Assassin's Creed, and strong too. I've been playing that for a couple hours now, and man, it feels good. What else? They had just a ton of games this year, just knocking it out of the park. And they continue to support their other games too, such as like The Division, and what's the Rainbow Six Siege. So like I give it to Ubisoft for keep the momentum going with their previous multiplayer games and their online support, as well as making great deals with other publishers as well, with Nintendo and other platforms, and they fend off Vivendi this year, which is amazing.
Dude, you just took my point. That's what wins them this award 1000%.
Yeah. I mean, they fought them off, and it's like, hey, no, these are the games that we're going to make, and this is what we're going to put out, and they did excellent. They send out the message very well this year. So that's why I think Ubisoft deserves it a little bit.
Dude, that's my nail in the coffin. Andrew, well, actually, we'll go back to Alex now that we got you back, man. Sorry about that.
No worries.
With a Skype. Oh, and you sound really nice too. Look at that. I don't know what happened.
He fixed
Changed my
something.
voice.
Ooh.
Puberty hit.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
That's why I had to leave. It was a big,
Did to go
big moment.
have his puberty.
Yeah, but now I've had my puberty and I've had time to think about my favorite publisher.
Oh,
and,
wonderful.
Yeah, like Chris said, sort of. It's got to be Nintendo, I think, for publisher of the year, like, hands down. I mean, they launched a new system and 4 or 5 games that were good, if not great, and 2 that were probably game of the year, right on up there. So Bethesda also did good, but I almost don't give it to them because a lot of their stuff were ports. So I'm sort of like it's stuff that they've done before. But
nice, man.
Andrew
Andrew,
looks
I guess we'll where did you land on this one, dude?
Bethesda. So ports. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, they had the Skyrim port and they have
the
Doom port, but they also had Evil Within 2. They also had Prey. They also had Dishonored, Rise of the Outsider. They also had Wolfenstein 2, which is my second favorite game of the year. They killed it this year. Plus their whole Save the Single Player campaign that they threw out at the Game Awards. I love it because as a single player gamer, mainly myself, that is what speaks to me. And a lot of these games, especially with the whole EA bullshit of we're making everything microtransactions and multiplayer friendly, Bethesda's like, no, sorry, we make single player games, and they're phenomenal games. Granted, I didn't like Evil Within 2 as much of the first few hours, but as I played that game got better and better and better for me, and it's really one of the better games that come out this year in terms of polish and everything.
So, okay, this is where things get interesting because I think Nintendo definitely put up and really good arguments for Nintendo. Bethesda, Andrew, I kind of regret already that the fact that you have veto power here because that
he makes a good. Here's the thing. I'll take his stance. He makes a good point. The games that he listed are fantastic, and yes, there were 2 major ports to the Switch, Skyrim and Doom, and then I think later this year. We'll get Wolfenstein as well. But the fact that you can play Skyrim, and I believe it's an in-between the original version and the Enhanced Edition. It's not quite the full Enhanced Edition. Is it the full Enhanced Edition?
It's not the full Enhanced Edition, but it's basically like, it's better than the original console version, but it's a step down from the...
Here's the thing. So there's a lot of memes out there. Oh, Bethesda's going to put Skyrim on every device. You'll play Skyrim on your 3DS next year, and you'll play it on a toaster in 2020, and that's fine. But as a publisher, whether you like the fact that they're bringing that same game to 100 different platforms every single year, they're supporting one of the best-selling games of that year when it came out, Game of the Year when it came out, and it runs magnificently on the Switch. I haven't played it myself. But everyone I've talked to says, yeah, it runs great. It's Skyrim that you play while you're pooping.
I mean, I can't argue with that. Now you're speaking my language.
Done. It's
Skyrim. Let me say something about Bethesda.
Who else lets you kill a dragon while you poop?
I mean, somebody call it killing a dragon. Garrett, what were you going to say, man?
Yeah, Bethesda did really well this year. I'll give them that. But I'll feel like, what Alex said, it was a bunch of, or if Alex said this, it was some ports, which, I mean, Skyrim on Switch is amazing and everything. The other games, Evil Within 2 and Wolfenstein 2, they're predictable. They were predictable games that I kind of played. And Prey was really the only unique game, and even at that genre, that single-player-esque, like, tone I've seen before. I just feel like Bethesda... kind of, I don't want to say play it safe, but they really just set the bar. I feel like they set the bar last year or the two years back, and then this year they're just keeping the momentum going and everything, which I really enjoy. I really enjoy Bethesda a lot.
And
I just feel like Ubisoft, like they created so many unique hits this year with their games. Multiplayer and single player, and I'm just highlighting really Mario plus Rabbids came out of nowhere and it was fantastic. So,
I think of the third parties, I think they had the best E3 as well. I really feel just like Ubisoft, like this year particularly, they sort of hit on all cylinders. I think For Honor surprised a lot of people. It doesn't seem like anybody in our circles is necessarily talking about it, but they have a huge player base and they're supporting that like crazy. Really unique kind of game that when I first saw it, I thought it reminded me of some old sword fighting games on my PC that I used to play with, like the 1-to-1 action. I can't remember what it was called. Somebody out there will remember this. You use your mouse and it would actually follow your mouse 1-to-1, and it reminded me of that quite a bit. So I'm really thinking that Ubisoft gets it. Andrew, I'm looking to you. Are you okay with this, man? Because I don't see Bethesda, I think, had a strong year, but I don't feel like Bethesda had like its strongest year.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, whereas I think Ubisoft really, really did super dynamic and launched all their games. I mean, South Park finally launched as well. Nobody's really mentioned South Park. But really just what a diverse catalog. And again, nobody else has another company trying to take over. And they're like, no, we're going to make so many great games that our value in our company is going to go up so far that you actually can't afford us anymore.
And not only that, the multiplayer games like Rainbow Six Siege, like they increase their player base. Like a game that came out, I think a year ago right now, they increased their player base. This year, just because of just the continued support on their platform. So I feel like they've really hit on this year with their games.
Here's the one thing I want to say about Bethesda that I think everybody's forgetting is that the Nintendo's always had a hard time getting major third-party publishers to bring content to the system. Bethesda has brought 3 of its biggest heavy hitters to the Switch, or is planning on having 3 of their heavy hitters on the Switch, which Bethesda hasn't done since ever. So, while
Skyrim and Doom, I'll give them those 2 because Wolfenstein hasn't come out yet. They announced it, but they haven't. I really would like to see that performance actually.
So I agree with you that Bethesda should be commended for its support of the Switch, but they didn't make a Mario game, boys and girls. They didn't make a Mario game, so therefore this is I wanted, before I award it, I do want to give a quick shout out to Jean-Luc. He said, look, plenty of people are going to talk up Nintendo, and it's undeniable what a great year they had in terms of quantity. Annapurna Interactive only put out 2 new games this year, but they were among the best of the year. The first one I never heard of, Gorogoa, is a refreshing puzzle game offering a fun, powerful experience, and the one that I did play, What Remains of Edith Finch, is a prime example of games as a perfect medium for poignant, impactful storytelling. Really, Annapurna seems to be enabling the best designers and writers in the industry to pursue their passion projects, and I feel that's worth some amount of recognition. And I agree, What Remains of Edith Finch completely blew me away. I was able to sneak in, which is why we do this, by the way, the first week of January. I played probably a dozen games in the last 10 days, it seems. I was able to play just kind of like Christmas, you know, get those last hits in. I wouldn't have been able to speak to What Remains of Edith Finch if it wasn't for this timeline, so thank you guys. That game is amazing. Those guys certainly deserve a little bit of recognition. But the award for Best Publisher from We the Nerdy goes to Ubisoft. Congratulations to Ubisoft, and special shout-outs to everybody else. Guys, hopefully we all still love each other because we got a lot more where this is coming from. That was the easy one. The publisher was supposed to be the easy one. I know, Nintendo. Nintendo will get some love here.
Julia gave a thumbs up, so that's all that matters.
Nintendo's gonna get plenty of love, let's be honest here.
They're gonna be fine, so everybody can just relax. The next game, or the next category, I think is just hilarious here. It's what was the most bizarre game that you played this year? Not everybody provided an answer here, but we'll run through sort of the nominees. We've got Nidhogg 2, Danganronpa, Ultra Despair Girls, Nier Automata, Valkyria Revolution, Mario plus Rabbids, Styx: Shards of Darkness, and Doki Doki Literature Club. I played a handful of these, but why don't we go again around the horn? Alex, of these, which one was your pick, man, and why was it the most bizarre game of the year for you?
I haven't played any of those actually, but
what luck! What luck! Unbelievable!
Stop going to him first.
Okay, that's true. I gotta change up the order. Andrew, I haven't heard from you in a little while, man. Like, which one was you?
I think mine was Nier Automata.
Yeah.
Because I was on the gun for it. I mean, the reality is I played so many games this year, and I'm just trying to think about what the most bizarre one was, and that one was really the one that stuck out to me the most. Danganronpa was definitely one as well, but for me it was just the ridiculousness of the game. in terms of just the combat variations, the music, the environment. It was so bizarre, but it worked so well together that it was just this great, like almost this weird diorama of items that just kind of meshed together in this orgy of amazingness.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, Square, you can push that on the back of the next cover for Game of the Year edition, so you're welcome.
Oh, snap.
Oh, shit.
All right, man. Well, okay, we'll come back. Hopefully Alex joins us back again, because I'm really kind of getting to like that kid, Andrew. I'm glad you have him on.
Thank you.
Chris, man, why don't we go to you of these games? Which one did you?
All right,
did you
so I have two.
Okay, we'll
one,
allow it.
They're real games. I played them both this year, and I think I played them both for We the Nerdy. Valkyrie Drive Bikuni is an awful Japanese game in which you play as pairs of Japanese schoolgirls who work in tandem. One wields the other as she transforms into a weapon of sex, and that's a game that I played. And as a father of at the time one little girl and now of two, I could only play more hours than I will admit here live. But I couldn't. The game is absolutely bizarre. But the game I played from start to finish was Danganronpa Ultra Despair Girls on PS4.
Mm-hmm. Sounds wholesome.
It's a visual novel. It's a Danganronpa game. I don't know if anybody's played those. It's a murder mystery type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
The gameplay is nothing to write home about. It's a visual novel. It's a lot of reading, but the story is what compelled me. It was very, very weird. The themes in the game were bizarre and kind of made me second guess if I wanted to continue playing, and not in a bad way. Just like there was themes of child abuse and neglect and sexual abuse to minors, stuff like that. Really, really, really deep stuff. But it had, I couldn't stop playing it as much as it was like, oh, this is, some of the stuff is really campy and very fan servicey, but it was underneath this very morbid story of these children who hate their parents because they have no pleasant memories of adults and they just want to kill every adult, in the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And
who doesn't though?
Oh, yeah, I hope my daughters don't feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a very unique, and it was like I said, because of the story and because of some of the elements in it, for me it qualifies as one of the most bizarre games I had played.
I'm intrigued, but also terrified to even venture into like Googling anything about that, to be honest with you.
Well, listen, Google that one. That one's fine. Don't Google the Valkyrie Drive Bikuni. I'll send you links. Don't Google it. I'll send you good stuff. Boobs pop out in this game.
I'll send you good stuff.
They turn into swords with boobs. It's a great game. Don't play it.
Swords
ever.
with boobs might that might be the dagger that we need. Alex, we're officially
little daggers, only big swords, big, huge, supple swords.
Oh, that's my take on my supple swords. You're gonna break me today, Alex. We're officially not going back to you first. So you which is no fault. I think it's just timing. Maybe that was just it.
Yeah.
What did you have anything in mind for the most bizarre game of the year that you played?
Yeah, I like a couple days ago I downloaded this thing off the eShop on the Switch just because it was like $4, and I was like, I have $4 on my gift card, so or like whatever was left over. So it's called Wheels of Aurelia. Wheels of Aurelia. I don't know if any of you guys have played it.
Yep.
But it's a driving simulator set in 1970s Italy, where you drive, and it's like a visual novel, but you're talking to random people. And I've played for probably 2 hours, and in that time, I raced a terrorist. I had an abortion.
Oh my god!
What kind of game is this?
I joined a gang.
Somebody take that sound clip out, totally out of context.
Yeah. I'm coming out on the YouTubes, but yeah, it's I don't think it's a good game. I don't really think it is, but there's 16 endings and I've unlocked 8 of them, and I want to unlock the other 8 because
okay, I need to buy this.
It's a horrible game.
Like
I beat it 8 times.
Yeah, well, I mean, it only takes 15 minutes to beat each time, so it's sort of like that.
Oh, it's kind of like getting to the end of like a Grand Prix on Mario Kart. It's I beat it.
but like there is one thing, it does get repetitive, and this one character has told me that she's pregnant like 8 times. Like she stops the car, she's like, "Wait a minute, I need to tell you something." She's like, "I'm pregnant." Like I know you know I played this game before, but
that is
amazing.
Wheels of Aurelia?
Wheels of Aurelia. Yeah, it's on the spelled Aurelia.
Oh, guys, I didn't play enough games this year because we got Subbles boob swords and we got abortions happening in cars. This is a better category than I thought it would be. Garret, man, did you play any weird games this year?
I'm glad you put me to last because I was like, oh crap, what did I choose? I don't even know what I chose for this most bizarre game. But I came up with something that I did play that was, it was more cool than bizarre, but it was very bizarre as well. Have you guys played Fury?
Fury is awesome.
I love that game. It's a good game. It's a far out game though.
Yeah,
you know? Like it's the premise of it. I'm like, I'm down with this. I have to defeat certain amount of bosses in order to come back to Earth. Yeah, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, you seem to be in some sort of like hell or purgatory or something, and like everybody's getting you closer to getting back to your reality. And it's just like, what? It's so Japanese and arcadey and just stylistic and cool.
Ambiguous, yeah. But I really enjoyed the colors, the obstacles you have to go through. Each boss has differences, and within each boss has a cool different like difficulty in each one. I didn't complete it all the way through, but what I've played of it, it was like so great. Like the levels were so different as well, and each of them had a personality to it. And I'm like, this is a very far out game, and it goes really well together. The music is amazing too. It has that good techno beat to it. It has a good pace as well. I was super down with that game. But yeah, those are more bizarre games.
You are literally the first and only other person that I've heard, aside from myself, who's actually just come up with that unprompted. Like sometimes you might ask somebody, like, "Did you ever play Fury or hear of it?" And they're like, "Yeah, maybe." But like the fact that you came up with that out of nowhere just gives me so much joy, man. That was a game when I played it. I didn't even know what it was. I got it free on PlayStation Plus, and I beat, and I just like wanted to see, was it multiplayer? Can I play this with my friends or anything? And then next thing I know, it's 3 a.m. and I'm trying to beat like the 3rd boss. And I every time I did beat a boss, I'm like, let me just try to see what this next guy's got. Like all I wanted to do was just like see the pattern that they had, and then next thing you know, I'm that close for beating him every time, and it's just a way to kill a night. Andrew, did you must have played some weird ass stuff this year, just because you're kind of a weird dude.
I did.
It sounds thrilled.
No, I'm just trying to think of like, holy shit. There was like the problem was that we got like so many games this year, and there were ones that like full disclosure, I offered to the team and nobody would take. So I'm like, all right, I'll tell them and see what they are. God, I'm just trying to think of one that I can. Oh no, most bizarre. Well, no, that's up for the shittiest game. What the hell?
I remember you playing a first-person shooter that just looked terrible. It was like a zombie-esque game.
That's up for the Burn with Fire award.
Okay, yeah.
God, I'm trying to think one real quick.
Well, I'll give you a second. I thought maybe you wrote something down before, but that's perfectly fine. I'm glad that Chris exactly. Chris and Alex brought forward some what in the world kind of games. Mine is maybe a little bit more mainstream, but I definitely thought when I looked at it, it gave me kind of the willies a little bit, but I still had a lot of fun playing it, and I would actually recommend this game. And that game is Nidhogg 2. And it's just so strange. Anybody who played the first one, it's the same sort of like style of like kind of one-touch kills, fencing kind of sword play, but this one just takes it to like this really strange clay fighter type of world, and the way that your bodies kind of move, and you can randomize your head and your legs and body and your appearance overall, and just trying to get from one end of the map to the other, and how quickly the games can swing one way or another. You think that you're good, but then your opponent can kind of get 2 or 3 of the little victories, and next thing you know, you thought you were at the end, and then you're getting defeated. This game is a mix of just bizarreness, but also like a really neat concept that we don't really see too much anymore. I love Nidhogg 2. It's definitely bizarre to look at, but I don't think that I can compete with an abortion in a car or subtle swords. Andrew, did I buy you enough time? All right, man. What do you got?
Pyre.
Ooh, that's on my. I bought that on the sale, on the Sony sale.
It's really good.
I remember I got it like a week after it came out because I couldn't believe the mix of basketball mixed with RPG mixed with visual novel, and then I played it, and It's really good, but
I love
I
it.
can't remember the devs of it, but like they are one of my favorite devs.
Me too.
Transistor and that was their first game.
Bastion.
Bastion. I own that game on Xbox 360, Xbox One, PS4, Vita, everywhere I own it. I even own it on Google Chrome now because I'm a fanboy of that game.
Mhm.
But Pyre was just such an out there game, and I loved it. And that was just, it was so bizarre, but I completely forgot about it until I actually took a second to go back and be like, what games did I actually play this year that I would consider bizarre? And that's one of them.
That's one of the biggest reasons that I really enjoy achievements and trophies is just like being able to pull up my profile and go like, what did I play? Unfortunately, I just wish Nintendo had that. That would just be that'd be really nice.
Please, that's my wish of 2018 is a trophy system on Switch.
Yeah, they could really just kind of get over. Anyway,
Something.
that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, well, later.
Guys, I would put forward that the winner of the most bizarre game that you played in 2017 is Alex's Wheels of Aurelia. Is anybody anybody in disagreement? Andrew, what do you think, man?
Nope, I 100%. I mean, between that
Autobahn abortions. Put it on the tagline.
It's not good, but
That's the thing.
it's an experience.
Okay, well, actually, it's a great segue into our next award here. This is just the Gong Show continues. We're gonna get to quality here eventually, guys. But
Oh man.
I mean, I don't know if that's true either.
These are all my idea, by the way. So if anyone wants to get angry for these decisions of topics, these are all mine. So you can go ahead and flame me.
No, I love it, dude. Anybody, listen. Any run-of-the-mill website or podcast or whatever can do best narrative or whatever. I'm actually like probably insulting somebody at this point.
IGN, we're better than IGN.
Yeah, we the nerdy does.
Think about
Oh
it.
shit.
I totally missed it.
Hey,
But
too
if you're
soon.
listening, IGN, please
Too
feel
soon.
free to hire me. So
Right?
Yeah, no,
like
seriously,
exactly.
no. Per Schneider,
Everybody's like,
hey, at me.
Don't add.
the next award category is called the Kill It With Fire nomination, and we'll run through some of the nominees here and not start with Alex unless we want to lose him on Skype once again. The nominees are Mass Effect Andromeda, Mass Effect Andromeda, Mass Effect Andromeda, Wolfenstein 2, a game called Elex, Valkyria Revolution, Dead Alliance, Fortnite. Holy.
Oh shit.
Where's Chelsea? Don't tell Chelsea.
I know. I don't know if she's hearing that.
She'll kill you.
And the last nominee is called Genital Jousting.
What the hell?
that gets my vote.
It's a great listen. That's a great game. I'm just saying.
Is it actually? Do you know that?
Yeah, you put penises in buttholes. I'm not making that up.
You got to be kidding me. Did you play this?
I swear to God.
Wait, what? All right, what is it called? Genital what? I'm looking this up right now.
Listen, it's called Genital Jousting, and it might as well be an iPhone
Oh my
game.
god,
but
it's on PS4. Is
you
it?
control the head of a penis, and your
I
back
heard
is your
of this.
butthole, and the point of the game is to insert your head into your opponent's butts.
Holy shit.
Okay,
No,
hang
no,
on.
mine looks-
Hang on a
See,
second.
so-
I'm gonna put this over your guys' face. I'm gonna put this for the people.
Oh yeah, I heard of this.
I told you.
This is on the video for people to see. This is actually pretty. Do we need sound? Do
told
we maybe
you.
we'll turn on some sound a little bit here? Oh, listen to this. You guys can't hear it, but the people in the video
John
can.
took a moment to
I
stare
told you.
into the void of his own
Oh
existence.
my god. Game of the year. We did it all wrong, guys.
Oh my god!
The painkiller
You guys thought I was joking.
finally John
No,
felt that feeling.
Oh man.
Why is Jim Sterling not covering this game yet?
Oh, come on.
Guys, this is incredible.
Hey, I can do a video review on Mixer if you want.
What was the sensation?
It's from the Vault Digital. Are you kidding? I'm getting a copy.
This is
Early
549.
access game.
Yeah.
What's so early access about it? It's just a bunch of penises.
Yeah, but I want to get a review.
They're
code.
premature penises.
Premature. Okay.
Okay, you guys, I'm so freaking glad that we're doing this. Like, I didn't know what to expect out of tonight, but like, if we just ended right there, that like we just had genital jousting on our live stream.
You're welcome. You're welcome to
Thank
everybody.
you. Thank you. That was incredible. That nominee came in from our good friend Jean-Luc. Unfortunately,
So hold on, let me ask you this: is there any reason to continue the discussion, or did that just win?
but that should have been in most bizarre too. Like that, I think Kill It
or
with
Game of
Fire.
the
I
Year.
think what we really mean by Kill It with Fire is like it's
It's so bad.
actually a bad game. Like I actually don't know if there's anything there
Mass
to
Effect
show that.
Andromeda.
Oh,
okay, we had Chad Waller say Wolfenstein 2. I actually want to strike that from the record. Yeah, that's going to go ahead and get deleted. That game is actually great. It has a problem with its grenade indicators, in my opinion, and some of the stealth is a little weird, but the stealth is only worse in Battlefront 2. So there's that.
I have a whole ordeal with Wolfenstein 2, but that's for another time.
As in good or bad?
It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, agreed.
It's okay.
It's very okay.
It's a fantastic story with very mediocre gameplay.
But Garrett, you actually nominated Mass Effect Andromeda. You were one of the 3 people who nominated, and actually 3 of us are here. So why don't we talk a little bit about Mass Effect Andromeda? What happened? Sure. What were your expectations? Why burn it with fire?
Burn it with fire. I got it on sale for like $5, so I was like, why not? I played maybe Mass Effect 1 for like 3 hours, so I kind of get the gist of what Mass Effect was, but I didn't know any of the series at all. And then I played it for an hour, and I got like a really, I think it's the color palette or something, but I got a serious headache, and the controls were weird to me.
Was your face tired?
My face was kind of tired.
My face was very tired.
Yeah, it was pretty tired.
That's the worst line of dialogue I ever heard.
I think everyone has an ordeal with Mass Effect Andromeda, and we know that the struggles behind that.
Yep.
I want to push that aside because I want to put another vote in, and that's Drawn to Death. That released last year, and I remember playing it for like maybe a day, or like maybe 3 or 4 hours. Man, that thing is garbage. And I thought that was going to be a good, cool, multiplayer, PlayStation-esque, down-to-earth game. But, man, it was so bad. It was just like the controls were wonky. It was like you weren't able to see the guys. You couldn't aim. The guns were just not there. It was just a clusterfuck in there. So I give it to Drawn to Death.
Oh, snap, man. I don't know if I can... Although I need to know what the heck was the release date there. I'm so glad I didn't say Alex's name because I feel like I was really jinxing him there.
Wasn't that Christmas of no, it was January of this year.
I think it might have been right at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
I think it makes the cut,
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a legitimate nominee. Andrew, where did you land on Kill It With Fire?
Dead Nation. Which, you can check out my QuickTime review of that piece of shit title.
God.
Tell us how you feel, please.
Oh my god. Well, no, here's the thing. It's a title where you can literally buy like 3 different versions of it. You can buy the single player campaign, the multiplayer campaign, or both. The single player campaign is the multiplayer campaign with bots. The multiplayer is god awful. It looks like a PlayStation 2 game. It runs like a PlayStation 2 game, and it's from the same guys who made Friday the 13th, who I'm pretty sure took the profits from Friday the 13th, held off on making content for Friday the 13th, tried making a secondary game to cash in on with Call of Duty mechanics and zombies, and it was complete and utter bullshit.
Wait, what was the title of the game again, Andrew?
Dead Nation.
No, it's not Dead Nation. That's
no,
the house
it's Dead Alliance. Dead Alliance.
Oh, okay.
Dead Nation's a good game.
Yeah, Dead Nation is a good game. The thing is, and here's the thing. I played Mass Effect Andromeda. I can see its complaints as well. Yeah. Mass Effect Andromeda is a game that when you get farther in, gets better, because it's more of a Star Trek than a Star Wars game. And if you like that kind of stuff, it will gel. So it's definitely not a great Mass Effect game, but it's a great game on its own. If it was called something like Effect Mass or Master of Effect, something that wasn't Mass Effect, it would have gotten a better rap than if it was a Mass Effect title. Dead Alliance was complete and utter cash grab bullshit that doesn't deserve anybody's money.
All right,
man. That's fair. Well, and if anybody wants, this is a quick time that we can give a shout out to EA Access, because if you have EA Access, you can just try Mass Effect and as many as others. This is now this segment sponsored. The Kill It With Fire segment is sponsored by EA Access for some reason. That's how this brain works.
Sponsored by EA.
I guess so. Alex, where did you come down on? Did you play any bad games aside from giving an abortion in a car this year?
Yeah, I mean, I've played unmemorable games, and I don't know about Kill It With Fire, but I was really disappointed with ARMS this year.
Oh no!
Yeah, it was something that it's in Canada. It costs $79.99, which is like $95 with tax. You got to get the gameplay guarantee because it's $2, right? That's how they get you. But it was a game with no story, and I mean, with Splatoon, it didn't really matter because I didn't play the story in Splatoon. But with ARMS, it just never really gelled for me, and the fighting thing, I just never for $80, I felt it should be a $30 game, and that's why I was like, burn it with fire, and then hopefully it's cheaper, and then you can play it. 'Cause it's not bad, but just let down.
Totally fair. I wish I knew what this Elex was that Thomas. Do you know anything about this, Andrew? Can you speak to this?
Yeah. So it was from the guys who did the. There's a bunch of pirate RPGs. We had gotten a review code for it. Him and Kyle Simcox, they each got a version of it. So Kyle got the Xbox, Thomas got the PS4 that they were going to cover. So Thomas ended up writing the review for it. Basically, it tries to be a Witcher / Fallout, where it's like a future type of thing, but the gameplay is just awful, and it fell flat for him. And we had a lot of discussions about it because he ended up putting like 30-some odd hours into it. It's a broken mess. All their games really have been sub-tier titles. They're basically like they're almost like bargain bin Fallout titles. They almost come off like that. All their titles. So it's just another one. Instead of just being pirates, they went with future tech. And it was just it's a mess of a game.
I'm putting it up on the screen now. To be honest with you, I mean, it looks all right, man. Like this, it actually has a really neat look to it.
For me, yeah.
I saw the trailers too, and I thought it had a good look too. But I actually if you watch people play the game, you can see how weird it is and how much of a buggy mess it is. It's kind of like one of those like movie trailers that they show all the good parts of the movie in the 2 minutes, and then you go in, you're bored for the next 2 hours.
That's a really good comment because I find myself being wooed by this game, even though you're talking absolute trash about it. Also, I just want to give myself a bit of a high five because I think I've discovered something like kind of neat where I can just like bring up the preview or whatever the Steam video up as you guys are talking about it, and I think that looks really nice, guys. Maybe next year I'll do something with that if I remember. But I kind of like that. Okay, Andrew, where do you land, man? I'm actually pretty indifferent as far as what we've heard. I think General Jousting deserves a special mention, maybe just for people to go buy it. But I'm thinking that I'm most compelled by your arguments for Dead Nation, even though you didn't remember the name of it.
No, Mass Effect is the right answer.
No, Mass Effect.
No, I don't think Mass Effect.
Mass Effect is the right answer.
No. Mass Effect, like I said, Mass Effect is a good title. It's a
bad title.
solid
It's
7
a bad
out of 10.
title. It's an awful
and
title.
the thing about Mass Effect is that it's been patched since it came out. So if you're looking at the
It's
game
still
now,
bad. No, it's still bad.
it's not as bad as it was when it
finishes.
came out.
At least Dead Alliance, you can't
still
finish it really.
Right now,
I can't really
listen,
play it.
I bought. Okay, I haven't spoken on this topic yet. I bought Mass Effect on sale for $7. I love Mass Effect. I've played the trilogy several times. I love Mass Effect. Love it. It's one of my favorite trilogies, period, of all time, of any game, period. I love that series to death. I've read all the books. I love Mass Effect. I got 3 hours into Andromeda and want to break that fucking disc in half. It's a piece of shit, awful game. Fuck that game. They broke everything about what makes it Mass Effect is gone. It is not a Mass Effect game. It's a Mass Effect in title only, and that's why it's burnt to the fucking ground. Because EA just shit down Mass Effect's neck. Fuck that game.
Pretty much.
Piece of shit.
I'll put another entry in, and that's Life of Black Tiger. I just being a laughing stock, and I just see the gameplay and saw the Jim Sterling review of it. I'm just like, that is like.
I think the kind of funny guys have to have a word with you.
I'm sorry, what was it called again? I missed it.
Life of
Black
Black Tiger.
Oh, I forgot about that. That got endorsed by Sony too. I remember that.
Yeah.
It was released in Sony platform, PS4.
Yeah.
And I'm looking
this year?
at Metacritic, and there's like fake accounts giving it 10s, and I'm just like, what is on here?
Was that this year? I thought it was last year.
No, it's this year. It was in like March, I think. March.
Beginning of the year? Okay.
Yeah.
So, guys.
The right answer is Mass Effect. It's a piece of shit.
Oh, I don't know about this, though. Oh, guys. This is the trailer that they're putting out.
Let's play like Black Tiger. We can't really consider that. We haven't played it.
Oh, this is real bad, you guys.
Nobody played General Jousting either, but that's the game of the year.
That just gets a special nod. that released in 2016, so we can't even put it in our game of the year.
Oh, never mind. It's like PUBG. It's not fully released yet. This is really funny.
I am actually thinking of Chris's argument towards Mass Effect because, like, if you really break it down, the facial animations were obviously like they were a nightmare. But honestly, I feel like that may be a special mention for 2017. That facial animations just across the board were really, really bad. Like it seemed like everybody forgot how to do it. But like it just didn't seem like even if it was called something else. I don't think that there's really anything compelling about it. I don't think that there was
was
anything really
soulless.
interesting between the brother and the sister. I thought that everything interesting about all the different aliens was lost. There wasn't really anything to really sink your teeth into there. And I'm not interested in what else is going on. I thought that the gameplay was really derivative as well. There's nothing really new, and the systems weren't really even like, sometimes I can get over obtuse systems if there's something interesting there, like The Witcher maybe, for example, but those were obtuse because it didn't seem like they knew a different way to do it, and there was nothing really satisfying underlying with Mass Effect. So I get it, but some of these games really are like this Black Tiger is really like.
But did anybody play it?
No, that's a good point.
Life Black Tiger's off the table, unfortunately.
All
I
right.
was supposed to put that on there, but nobody actually covered it. It's got to go off the table.
Andrew, I will throw
Yeah,
it to you then, man. It's between Mass Effect Andromeda and Dead Alliance, the one that you voted for.
I'm
just
sorry.
wanna say
But, all right, go
about
ahead.
Mass Effect Andromeda. If you guys award this, that's fine. I just want to say I just read Jason Schreier's article about the development hell that was with that game. It is not the developer's fault.
No, and I'm not blaming
But-
the developers,
exactly.
but the game
So
still
it
exists.
doesn't matter, though.
Regardless
that
of
game
how it
exists,
got there,
it's
the
product,
game exists.
yes. I
Correct.
just don't want to bash the devs on this.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fair.
Never.
That's fair.
No, people have jobs. People work their asses off for these games,
Yeah.
and I would never take away from the work that people put into a game.
Right,
However,
right.
that game exists as it exists, patched and not.
Yeah.
I've played it patched, and it's a pile of shit.
Oh, no,
Thank you for your
we
hard
can-
work.
For
It's a
Dead
piece of
Alliance,
shit.
we can blame the developers on this because that was a blatant
Oh,
cash grab on
jeez.
them.
All
That's
right.
true.
Sorry.
Blatant
That's just
broke
snark
cash
way.
grab.
Also,
Yeah.
we'd like review copies from them, please. So.
Yeah,
exactly.
Can I get on the Switch, please?
I think this. Okay, so congratulations, I guess.
I think Dead Alliance.
To Dead Alliance.
Yeah.
I probably should have started that category with what Garrett closed it with, which is, yes, thank you for all of everybody's hard work for these games. We love playing them, but unfortunately, not everybody can have Game of the Year, and that means some people get a Kill It With Fire award. This next one, I don't think is going to be nearly as contentious, guys. We'll do a quick round table. We talked a little bit about how our 2017 was. We all talked about this console. Not starting with Alex because we don't want to kill his Skype. Maybe we'll start with
The fire.
Andrew.
It's already started.
The next award is the best console of the year. Andrew, tell me what the best console was. We all know what the nominees are here, so we'll just run right into your pick.
That would be the Sega Dreamcast.
Yep, definitely. Yeah. The best part
Done.
about it is that you can stick
Power
in like a
Stone, baby.
boot disc. You can put in that when you jailbreak it, you put in that boot disc, and then before it actually fires up, then you slide in Marvel vs. Capcom or Dance Dance Revolution. You get the
Power
pads.
Stone.
Oh,
Power
Dance
Stone.
Dance. Ooh.
Yep, I agree. That's the winner. Say congratulations to Sega Dreamcast.
Done. Close it down.
Game of the Year, Dance Dance Revolution.
Yep, MDK2.
No, but definitely, it's Nintendo. As many of you, and probably Bobby, if he's still watching this, know, I have not been the biggest supporter of Nintendo for the last few years. My first console was a Super Nintendo, but Nintendo absolutely killed it with the Switch this year. I got mine about 2 months ago, and it's really all I play anymore. The really only reason I touch my PS4 right now is for Assassin's Creed Origins, but that has completely changed the way I think about how I play games and what I want to do with games and what I do on the shitter, as Chris would say. I mean,
Yeah, man.
I spend 10 to 15 extra minutes on the pooper playing my Switch, and my wife hates me for it because, the kids have to poop too, and I want to play rabbits.
Can you talk about poop a little bit more?
Yeah, so sometimes it comes out brown.
Oh,
smells
good God. What did I even say that for?
You were a bad man.
I don't know. Garrett, man, what's your take on the Switch and why this is your pick for the console of the year?
It broke. First of all, I was trying to do a bet and not buying any video games this year, and that just fell down horribly. Once
Yeah, I told you
got
it would.
the Switch. Yeah, I know it fell down terribly. Because, okay, you have to imagine 2017 was a fantastic year for games, so
Mhm.
that's one thing. Yes, the Switch was probably it came out of left field. Like, they got a good message in, then Nintendo had some confusing messages with their Japanese presentation, but they really nailed it down with their product messaging. Putting a home console on the go. And then they just shuffled out great exclusives. I mean, you got ARMS. It was like, good at the time, and there was a lot of hype around it because it was just the new thing. You got Splatoon 2, which was a great third-person shooter multiplayer. I've never played Splatoon 1 because Wii never existed in my eyes. But Splatoon 2, you got me into it. I played with Sean. I played with Bobby. It was amazing. Mm-hmm. And then you got these two masterpieces, Legend of Zelda and Mario. It's just like just agglomeration and everything. And then the third-party support came in. And I was like, when the third-party support and the indies came in, and they're like, hey, our sales are up on the Switch, I'm like, oh no, this is going to be huge. This is going to be a big thing. And today, Nintendo announced that it was the the fastest-selling console in U.S. history. It is beating the Wii right now.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah. That is insane. My uncle, who never plays games, they're like, oh yeah, let's give him a Switch because he travels a lot. I'm like, I didn't know you guys knew what this was. And Nintendo's back, man, with this Switch. They really knocked it out of the park. So that's my take of the Switch.
Berto, man, what are you thinking?
Switch. As I discussed on other podcasts that I was on throughout the year, I'm absolutely a lapsed Nintendo fan. They lost me after the Super Nintendo. I haven't owned a console since then. I've had Game Boy, stuff like that, but I never had a GameCube, never had a 64, I had a Wii for like a minute, and I refused to go anywhere near the Wii U, and I was very hesitant to touch the Switch. I was like, I saw the Karen trailer, Rooftop Karen, snobby little bitch, doesn't want to talk to anybody.
She's lovely.
And like the concept just seemed off and stupid. It was another gimmick. These little fucking Joy-Cons, this little, you can pull it off and dock and undock. It just seemed like another Nintendo gimmick that was going to pass me by. Mm-hmm. And then my buddy brought his over and we played 1-2 Switch. And you guys can joke about 1-2 Switch all day long. That game made it click. Yeah. So we were at a party and we were playing the not genital jousting. That's not on Nintendo. We were doing that one, the gun one, the draw.
Oh yeah,
the draw one.
Yeah, that, and then baseball and tennis, all that. And it was just like, oh yeah, this is Nintendo. That's what they do. They make fun games, and they made a fun game on a fun system that I can take to my friend's house, in my backpack, in my shorts if I have big enough pockets. The whole system. The Switch is fantastic. I think. It came out in March. I play a lot of PlayStation. I'll play a lot of PC games. I think I played my Switch more this year than those other two systems combined. Mm-hmm. I love the Switch. Switch compelled me to play my very first ever Zelda game. Not the game of the year, but a pretty good game.
Oh, spoilers.
My favorite Mario game to date is on the Switch. A lot of third-party games, a lot of indie games on the Switch. The fact that I can take it everywhere, waiting for my wife at the airport, sit in the car, playing Odyssey, getting stars. I mean,
babies are born. It doesn't matter.
Correct. I mean, I was getting stars with my newborn at the hospital, and you did it this year as well, Sean, I believe. Had my Switch with me at the hospital when my child was born, and when she was sleeping, I had the Switch, and when she wasn't sleeping, I had her in my arms, and I still had the Switch collecting moons. The Switch I want all my games to be on the Switch. It's a fantastic system. Nintendo, for me, is back. They were gone for a long time. They lost me. They were catering to a very casual audience that I don't consider myself a part of. I wasn't into Wii boxing. I did mention 1-2 Switch, but that's what sold me on the system. It's the rest of the games that kept me coming back to it. It's a magical system, and I hope. Do I have issues with it? Yeah, there are some. I think the Joy-Cons are small, even for a man with little girl hands. The Joy-Cons are hard to use.
I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, my daughter's hands are bigger, and she's like 2 weeks
hilarious.
old. Yeah, well, listen, things look bigger in small hands. Just saying. So, to include the Switch controller.
All right.
Yeah, I love it. I have issues with it. I want to see it revised in 2020. Better battery. Maybe they switch out the Integra 3 or the Integra 2 for the 3. Give a little bit more oomph behind under the hood. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I love the system. I love it to death. Mm-hmm. Really do. It's by far the best system of the year.
They're gonna call it the Switch U, by the way, in 2020.
Yeah.
I will quit.
Oh.
I will fucking throw mine in the garbage if they call it the Switch.
Switch us, yeah.
Yeah.
Nuts.
I
Jesus
will, I will
Christ.
say real quick, what related something on the Switch is I was excited for the Switch as well. But when we were flying down to Florida, I was sitting next to my oldest son, and we once we got in the air, we brought the Switch out. Me and him played Mario Kart and Pokken Tournament for the entire trip, and that was so awesome because that ended up starting a path for him and as well my youngest son, where they have now become like complete Nintendo addicts. They love Mario, they love Luigi, they love Yoshi. It started that path, but really with the Switch, it's what brought them into the fold of Nintendo. And like they're upstairs right now in their Mario and Luigi PJs going to bed. So I mean they're in bed. I'm not that bad of a dad. But that's a little bit. I can't play Odyssey by myself anymore. As soon as they hear that it's Super Mario Odyssey, they come over and watch me play the game.
You did that really
Watch
well.
it together.
That's really good.
Wow.
Very good.
Yeah, yeah. I bet
How
the
many hours
jumping
did you
is
put in?
the jumping is exactly the same too. You're really good at jumping around. I know.
Yeah.
Alex, why don't you upset everybody with your vote here?
The PlayStation 2 was a
VR.
really good system, but no, yeah. Just before I get into it, I gotta say 1-2 Switch. I got the Switch when it came out, and I brought it to school. I don't know why. I just brought it to school, and I was playing it after school with a friend, and my prof walks back in, and she's like, "Oh, what's that?" And then we ended up playing like 1-2 Switch for like 10 minutes, like maybe 2 mini games. But it was so cool, just like how easy it is to pick up and go. And 1-2 Switch was a game that I can't play it anymore because I played the mini games way too much, and I don't think they're that great. But starting out, it really works well.
Yeah.
And just with the Switch, it's coming off the Wii U. I felt that the video game industry was going in the wrong direction. I felt that going for power and going for like this race to the bottom was not going to do it. I think Xbox and PS4, that there is a place for them, but I don't think it's a sustainable place. And I think with Nintendo, they're like, let's do something new. And it shows that, I mean, it's sold more than the Wii did in the first 10 months. And I think it's showing that console gaming isn't dead. People love console gaming. And I mean, developers and publishers just have to do good games, good tech, and it'll be good. So it was, the Switch sort of made me happier, made me more believe in the industry going forward.
Man, that's such a good point. I hadn't really thought of it that way. Like the sustainability factor of like maintaining even just people's interest of like we sort of know what we're going to be expecting from the PS5 and from the next Xbox and whatnot, but we never know what we're going to get from Nintendo. And this is a refresher that we will never know what we're going to get from Nintendo. And we like that makes video games compelling and interesting, and makes me want to just always be looking, because I feel like if it wasn't for Nintendo, we probably could just all step away from video games for 4 years and then check back in and be pretty accurate in what we think has been going on while we were absent in that hypothetical. So yeah, I love that comparison and that thought, man. Obviously, Switch, it's hard to argue with as we start to round out this category and move on to more contentious maybe categories. I want to give a shout out quickly to the Xbox One X, even though ultimately my vote does go along with you guys for the Switch, in that like we have two in our house. I am buying in 100% on. Like, I'm actually, the thing that I would say actually is that I'm overlooking a lot of the things that I had problems with, and I think a lot of us are, and we continue to overlook some of the things that we thought would kill the system right out of the gate. The fact that the Pro Controller doesn't have a headphone jack in it, the eShop is very bare bones, the online really isn't there, voice chat's a nightmare. Like, you can kind of go on and on with, like, the typical stuff that we've been complaining about Nintendo for years and years, but still, this is such a surprisingly powerful device that now we want all games, and not even saying that is quite as silly as it was back in the last winter where we wanted all games, and then Bethesda comes out and says you can have your games on this. So I think Nintendo has some more surprises for us in 2018, but I did want to give a quick shout out to the X. I think that it is such a rejuvenation for Microsoft. I feel sort of it's just the wrong year. It's kind of like a comparison that we're seeing with a lot of the games, where if you're not like an A++ game, then nobody really cares about you. Like, this is just another sort of bad timing for Xbox to come out with this console, because it truly is like a wonder of engineering and architecture, that it's a sexy beast. It's not getting nearly the attention that I believe that it deserves. A lot of quality of life stuff, like load times are halved in many cases. And this is sort of like the future proofing for a lot of people who care about like console gaming on your couch and maybe not necessarily taking it with you on the go. This is become, in my opinion, the best place to play third-party games or cross-platform games, and then of course PUBG coming there as well is a huge deal. So I wanted to give a shout out to Xbox. I think they had a great year, despite maybe not the first-party support that is an obvious problem, and it looks like it's going to continue to be a problem a little bit. But for me, guys, Xbox has never been the place of exclusives. I've always used that console from the original through the 360 and even to now. This is where I want to play my third-party games, and now it's a no-brainer. So I love that about the X, but ultimately, Andrew, we're gonna move on. We're gonna award this. Congratulations, Nintendo Switch! You have We the Nerdy's best console of the year. Hooray! Da, 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 da.
I do want to take a quick second to also just let you. I mean, in regards to the Xbox One X, to really give you props, Sean, because your coverage on the Xbox One X was excellent, and you really did a very in-depth analysis of it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I like how you compared it to a baby.
I was really nervous about it because, like, when they sent out those review consoles, like, it wasn't ready. Like, they really, the games mattered. And that's what everybody says, but they sort of miss the point when they're saying something like that. They say games matter, and Xbox doesn't have any games. But they have all, like, 90% of the library is the same on both those two consoles. So, and in many cases, like, The Witcher 3 just got its patch, and it looks incredible. And Call of Duty is the best place to play, actually, on Xbox, and all these other big games. It's just you don't have the marketing agreements to tell you that that's the best place to play. So, and unfortunately, none of the media outlets are picking up, what we saw in the beginning of the generation, which was screenshot comparisons of like, look how much better it looks on the PlayStation versus like, we're not getting that now, which is strange. And maybe that is just another notch on Nintendo's belt where they're showing that doesn't matter anymore. Alex, sorry, man.
Yeah. Just the fact that the Xbox One X is the most powerful gaming console ever released, no questions asked, and that's not being talked about. And then, like compare the Switch to the One X, like graphically and everything, it doesn't even compare at all, right? So, and the fact that discussion isn't really going on is obviously a win for Nintendo and all that. And I think it's hard because but launching the X and not having a game, it's hard to do like something like, oh, look how much better it is on this, what you can't get here and everything. So it's tough, but it's as a piece of tech, it's great.
Yeah, man, I totally agree. And I just want to give a quick note to our co-hosts here. If you guys are going to search on Google, if you wouldn't mind just quickly muting your mics, that would be phenomenal. That would be awesome. Moving on. Best new IP, because I don't even know how many more we have. My screen doesn't go that wide over. Best new IP, I think we can quickly run through this one as well. Our nominees are Cuphead, Horizon Zero Dawn was actually nominated quite a few times, and Pyre was only the other one. Alex, let's test Skype's ability here. Let's go right back to you, man. Do you remember, or do you have a best new IP of 2017?
Best new IP. I think the only new IP I played was ARMS this year, and I really didn't like it.
Burn that with fire. All right, noted.
ARMS is my favorite new IP. No, but yeah, just
default.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Horizon because I've seen a lot of Let's Plays on. I've seen a lot of playthroughs, and it just looks like a beautiful game. That if Zelda didn't come out this year, it'd be getting a way more buzz.
Well, it pains me to hear it and actually see this up here. I am definitely not on the Horizon train, but Garret, I want to throw it to you, man. How was your experience with Horizon in the year that you're supposed to be quitting games?
Yeah, I mean, I got it a while ago. I actually just been playing it this past week. I'm about 10 hours in, and oh my god, I'm in love with it so much. Yeah, it's just they Guerrilla, I don't know what they've done differently. Like Killzone never really did it for me, but what they've done to this game is completely different and completely like it I don't know, like it just came all together for me. I haven't finished the story yet, so I don't want to just invoke like this needs to be the new IP because I haven't fully gone through it. All right, but from a technical standpoint of the engine to the RPG mechanics of that game, it feels great. I love the main character as well so far. I just think overall Guerrilla has a really good setup we know Horizon whatever is gonna be their next game, and it's gonna be a really good build off, and they're gonna have to prove themselves that it can be better. And they've also came out with a I heard really good reviewed DLC as well.
Yeah.
So I have to give it to Guerrilla, just delivering on just, hey, here's a brand new, different genre we've never done before, but here you go. Hope you like it. And they knocked it right out of the park.
Mm-hmm. Chris, where are you on this, man?
Horizon Zero Dawn is the best game, period. It's the best game ever to this year.
All right.
No, Horizon is actually new IP. Garrett's, he brought up a good point. Guerrilla is known for the Killzone series. It's what they did. Kind of a mostly generic, well received, but kind of generic first-person shooter. I played, I can't remember what it's called, Shadowfall, the first game on PS4 this generation.
Underrated.
They brought over Killzone, and then they went on hiatus for a little bit, right? Developed this new engine, this Decima engine, which is being now used by Kojima's game whenever that comes out in 2050, probably on the PS6. But they developed this brand new engine, this gorgeous. If nothing else, if nobody agrees with me on anything else, Horizon is the best looking video game that you've played on a console, period. Across the board, it is the best looking game. If you disagree, you're wrong. And your opinions, that's fine, but you're wrong. It is the best Zelda game of 2017.
Holy crap! Okay.
No,
that's
I
a box
can't go there yet.
I'm sorry. It's my absolute, and I know I'm stepping on something, and I'll go more into detail later. But it is my, it's the best of the new IPs. It's the best one. It's Cuphead, fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed. I didn't play it myself. I played it backseat drive. My cousin played it. I sat with him and watched him play it. Amazing game. I can't wait to get my ass beat on PC, and I'll stream that. Pyre looked amazing, and there was a lot of new games that came out this year. New IPs, nothing with a sequel. But for me, what Guerrilla did coming off of the Killzone games and moving into this shows that as a studio they grew. Either they grew or Sony said, here's a blank check, do what you want to do, and they wanted to do something like this for a long time. Either way, they complete 180 from the games that they were known for to this huge open world. I mean, the game is huge. The enemy variety was fantastic. The combat for me was fantastic. The story was amazing. The characters were great. The voice acting was fantastic. I have no issue. I love Horizon. It is my favorite period game. I love it. Love the DLC. Love it. I can't wait for Horizon Future Dawn or Horizon, a little bit of Dawn or, something.
Dusk.
Horizon 1X.
Horizon from Dusk till Dawn.
Here's my thought. I think Horizon has the ability to be Sony's next Uncharted. That's the praise I'd give it. I think Horizon, if Naughty Dog takes a break, if they, without going into spoilers for people who may or may not have played it, if Sony, if they end Uncharted where they left it, and they take a break till maybe the PS6, they take a whole generation off, I think what Sony has with Horizon could be their next major franchise, and Aloy could be their next. This is the character that represents us as a platform. There's our mascot, Aloy. Done. That's how I feel about Horizon.
I kind of wish Sackboy was still the mascot. But Andrew, what do you think, man?
You would.
See, the thing is that I can agree with both fronts. I mean, Cuphead was, I mean, not only was it gorgeous, and yes, Horizon is the best technical achievement looking game of the year, but Cuphead legitimately is a 1930s animated cartoon brought to life on an Xbox that is pixel perfect, that runs smoothly, all that. So for me, it's a toss-up. I mean, I loved Horizon. I've put 20-some odd hours into Horizon, and it really is a great Zelda game. I'm glad I played that before I played Breath of the Wild, because it really did kind of show what a really great Zelda game could be before Breath of the Wild. And it's coming from a Wind Waker fan here. Now, so it really is a toss-up. I mean, I probably would say Horizon is the better title for this year, and just because of what it did for not just Guerrilla Games, but for the PS4 in general, because that is now the showpiece title for the system to wow people into going, you want a PS4? You absolutely need to get this game with it.
Okay, well, I'll give a little love to Cuphead before I sort of lay on the sword and give it to Horizon Zero Dawn. I think that, everything that team went through to make sure that that game actually happened, to even just ship it, you would expect them to just sort of like limp across the finish line, but instead they sort of sprinted across and raised their arms and did a couple of push-ups all at the same time. This game is so special, so unique. I haven't played anything like it in probably like 20 years. Going back all the way to like Contra, but this is totally new and fresh, and to me inspires more developers to make new and innovative games in light of Cuphead, whereas Horizon Zero Dawn is a little bit more siloed. I think that Horizon is good for Horizon, it's good for Guerrilla, and it's good for PlayStation, but it's not really, like, I don't really see too many, or I don't foresee too many other games mimicking that. Like, I don't think it's going to have quite the same impact, where this is like a, holy crap, you can do a hand-drawn, totally original throwback to the 1930s and people like it? Like, what do you mean that shouldn't be possible? So for all those reasons, my love goes towards Cuphead. It also shouldn't have worked because it was in development hell forever, and it also shouldn't have worked because it was difficult. And the first thing people talk about when they mention Cuphead is its difficulty, and all those things typically work against the game. But for somehow it overcomes all of that, and so I think the best new IP is Cuphead. But the award from We the Nerdy will go to Horizon Zero Dawn. So congratulations to Guerrilla for just really an incredible surprise, and also should be, as I was giving love to Cuphead, I also give love to Horizon for, when we saw that game for the first time, we expected great things, and for a lot of people it delivered great things. So it's really hard to deliver on those type of expectations, and I feel like Horizon did it. And going back to the last category, a couple categories ago, Mass Effect Andromeda sort of collapsed upon itself, unfortunately. So new IP, Horizon. I can't write down stuff and talk at the same time. So we're going to go into the next category, which is the Best Character nomination. And my goodness, this is great, because I feel like even within one game, we could have a category of best character within, like, Wolfenstein, for example, or best character within Persona and things like that. So this is great because I don't think we have any. We do have 2 people voting for Bayek from Assassin's Creed. But I would basically say anybody from Wolfenstein, just take your pick. We've got nominees for Aloy. Aloy?
Aloy.
Yeah,
Aloy,
somebody said Alloy, and it really threw me off, I think. Persona 5, Garret Blanc, you had Makoto, Senua from Hellblade, Mustache Yoshi. I don't even know what that is. And,
He's not an Odyssey.
And Craig, Night in the Woods. Is that from Odyssey? Is he?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
I assume it must be, yeah.
I don't know why I didn't.
I shouldn't
have dug into that. That's really funny.
Rose above.
Alex, man, talk about your pick for, because I don't think I have it here. What's your pick for best character?
I haven't played a lot of story games with characters. I didn't play Persona. I didn't play Wolfenstein. I'm waiting for Switch for that. So the only real story game I played was Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Okay. So Stormtrooper number 6.
Number 7, actually.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. All the shit that game gets, I thought that Iden Versio was a good character.
Yep.
For what it was, I thought it was she was well acted by I forgot the name of the person who voiced her.
Janina.
Super cool. Yeah. Janina, the super cool chick who's really cool.
Yep.
Is her full name.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I thought she did good. I thought that her arc was good, and it was nice seeing. We don't see it a lot, but it was nice seeing like a woman in her 70s kicking ass in a game, because that's something that you don't see in video games.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. That's my pick.
Yeah, man.
Geriatric Game Player Award.
That's hilarious. Chris, man, who did you? I didn't see who you had.
Aloy.
Here. Yeah.
Aloy. So I like. There's been a resurgence for me, at least what I've noticed. There's been a resurgence lately of a lot of really strong female lead characters in games.
Yeah, man.
I kind of kicked back with the Tomb Raider reboot, 2014, 15. Mm-hmm. And maybe I have a soft spot because I have 2 little girls or whatever, but I like that we have these very strong female characters who aren't being overly sexualized, unlike some of the other ones that I was forced to play. Thank you, Andrew. And she was such an amazing character. And I won't go into too many story details, but her kind of origin story of how she comes about being kind of the hero of that world or of that game was really well done. I just really thoroughly enjoyed it. That and there's a lot of games this year that I didn't get a chance to play. Like I mentioned, I didn't get to play Wolfenstein, so I'm sure BJ Blazkowicz is probably way up there, but I just personally don't know. I never got to play Persona. So she's kind of my pick for both. I really like her, and then also by default because the amount of games I didn't get to play throughout the year. But yeah, no, I think Aloy is a fantastic character. I think Ashley Birch did an amazing job voice that. I think it was Ashley Birch. I'm gonna Google it later.
No, it's Ashley Birch. You're right.
Yeah, okay. So I think the voice acting was done, the characterization, just everything about the character I thought was really well done. Just very smart, intelligent lead role in that game. And I think she really held what could have been a really weird sci-fi kind of story. She kind of grounded it, I think. Just the way she came at it from a very innocent kind of, like, I don't know why are these dinosaurs doing this and who are these old ones? And I think she kind of tied that story together really, really well, and it's just a really strong character that I really kind of connected with in a weird. I don't know how I explain it, but I don't know. It was for me an excellently written character.
See, and I was trying to come up with a way to just not disagree with you for disagreement's sake, because I obviously have talked about how I did not love Horizon. I'm the only one in the world. Actually, Chelsea and I were the only people in the world who didn't love Horizon. If I were to pick up in that game, I know, right? Yeah, in that game, though, I don't think that Aloy was the best character. I think that there were people who, you know, not to spoil anything, people who you learn about from the old world, I think, are more interesting. And there's a character in there who just seems to be like working in every video game, and I don't know the actor's name, but he's also incredibly great.
He's
got a
fantastic.
Great voice.
I love that guy. Yes,
I think he was a better character than Aloy. I think she had promise, and I want to see more from her. Was it Silas? Andrew,
yeah.
Did you know that?
Oh yeah, I remember that guy's name.
He's in The Wire. It's his best role ever.
Oh yeah, that guy is awesome. So I thought I think that, you know, that's why this category is super interesting to me, is that it doesn't necessarily have to be like a lead character. Like, I thought Super Spesh from Wolfenstein is just amazing. Set is also incredible, and just the interactions that all these characters have. The villain in Wolfenstein, Engel, is crazy, and she is awesome. All those people get votes from me.
Can we pause this for 15 hours? I can go beat that game and come right back.
You might need more than that. That game is hard as balls, man.
Shit. I'll play 12. You can do it, Chris.
But a game I wanted to play more, I don't know when I'm going to get around to it, is Persona 5. So, Garrett, why don't you go ahead and tell me about your pick, man?
Yeah, so I'll flesh it out for Game of the Year stuff with the game itself. But Makoto specifically, basically what you can do in the game is you can date any girl, the main characters you like, and actually a lot of different stuff. And she was a close second for me, but like overall her character, it just makes you realize how she displays herself in a public view as very she was very demanding. She was like a president of the school and everything. But as you dug into her past, dug into her like insides, she's very soft. She's very sensitive. And I really like how Persona, like in each and individual character, they have changes, and that's based on their persona as well. So I think Makoto had the most dynamic setting within that game. And in the relations, I don't want to get into spoiler territory here, but she has a bunch of relations with all the main characters. And I feel like she was just the most badass character. And I remember her persona being a motorcycle, which I was like, okay, I'm done. When I saw her just awaken, I'm just like, I love you so much, Makoto, right now. So she's smart, she's witty, but she's also soft, but she's also like, she's everything. She's like the whole package. So yeah, she's my waifu. That's all I can say.
Ooh, that works for me, Garrett. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I'm sort of just rambling a little bit so that we can just watch this trailer just for a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
What a great looking game.
How bad do I have to play this game? If I can't get past the UI because it's stylized, I think, to a fault.
I don't think you can beat through this game. And I'll discuss that game of the year.
Because its biggest weakness is that it's not on Switch.
I feel like it's
true.
over stylized. One of the things that people talk about was like, it's so stylish, the menus of this. And for me, for the same reason I haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles 2, whatever, is it
Oh, I
seems
love
like
that
it looks like there's too much going on the screen. It's so much. And I'm like, it's intimidating, and I want
just
to play
got
it.
used to it, I guess. I don't know. Like, I feel like Xenoblade. I think you're right. There's a lot going on the screen, and I'm getting confused as well. And I think that's a lot of Japanese games in general. But I feel like Persona.
I gotta play it. It's on my to-do
It's
list.
just super stylized. It's not like a lot going on. It's just like as long as you know where to go. The art is just what really stands out. I just want to. Yeah, quick shout out to Wolfenstein 2. Just beat it. I love the characters.
Yeah, man.
But there's one character I was just okay. Why? I'm not sure. It's BJ Blazkowicz. Like, he was such a bland character. Not hitting on my last name or anything like that. But it was just I don't know what he was going through. He did not. I loved his like the relations around him, the story behind him. And everything. It's just him going through this game. I just felt I don't know. I felt unsure. He was just. I don't want to get into spoiler territory because I know Chris hasn't played it yet.
Not
but I don't know. I just was uneasy about his character. Everything around it. I love the side characters. I love the villain as well. They bounce off each other very well. The pacing's really good. Oh, like, it is a line of moments that, like, probably my top 5 moments in video game of the year, it's in Wolfenstein 2. Because it's just boom after boom after boom. And I'm just like, yes, this is why I play this game. So.
And what a cool new identity. I think that Bethesda does deserve a lot of credit for Doom and with Wolfenstein. Brand new refreshes on those games that somehow are true to the old stuff, but now, like, a totally different... Like, what you think of when you hear the word Wolfenstein, what is that? What do you see? Totally different, and such a solid foundation for what that game is now. Andrew, we are talking about characters here. You have a character that we haven't mentioned here yet, maybe from Assassin's Creed?
Yes, that would be Bayek. And just to kind of go on the BJ thing, I mean, that first 10 minutes of that game, holy shit.
Yeah.
Really, just talk about instant character development. That right there is amazing. But Bayek really, in terms of a lot of the Assassin's Creed characters, and then maybe this is because I'm playing it right now, but I felt like with his character, he's got a lot more depth than I really think we've seen since Ezio and the Assassin's Creed 2 trilogy. And like, you really start out like he's almost kind of like Kratos from God of War, where he's just angry and beating the shit out of stuff. But you kind of peel back the layers and you see that he was a family man. Something happened to his family. You know, he has to reclaim it. But he's not out to stop this big bad. He is out for revenge, and that it is a revenge tale. And it's such a great revenge tale, and it really developed the character of Bayek into somebody that you like, and the characters around him were really, really good. And it's just he's such a strong character that I really hope that this is not the only game that we see in the Assassin's Creed series with Bayek as a lead, or at least a playable character.
Yeah, man. And actually, that last point that you make is sort of like, I was sort of like kind of doubting myself a little bit on, like, does he deserve the nod? Does he deserve the shout out here? And that last point about, I do want another Assassin's Creed game with him in it. Whether or not we're going to get that, I don't think we are. But I wish that we were, and that definitely, that scores you some points for sure. I think similarly to my comments on Horizon, where actually some of the supporting characters are even more interesting, I think Bayek's wife is just like, give me a game with her. Like, that would be incredible. I think they did Cleopatra really well. I don't think that that's necessarily a spoiler. I think some of the assassination targets are really cool. And to your point about, like, kind of the revenge story, it's even more than that. It's this, he falls down this rabbit hole of, you know, trying to achieve some sense of revenge and satisfaction that he will never ever get. What he has lost can never be brought back to him, and regardless of how far he goes down. And as a player, you're brought right into that mindset, which is a huge reason why I enjoyed my time with Assassin's Creed as much as I am. And I'm not an Assassin's Creed fan at all, so this was a big surprise for me.
Right now.
Even with the whole, like, I love it's so quick, but the origin of why the original groups of assassins lost their one finger to be able to use the blade. It's so quick, and if you've never played an Assassin's Creed game before, you don't understand it, but it's so great to kind of have a callback to that that I love that, and it just gives that explanation as to why would you lose your finger.
I don't know. I haven't played it yet. Don't tell me.
Well, it turns out Bayek's actually a Jewish immigrant, and believe it or not, there's actually proto-Nazis that are in Egypt. There are also mechanical dogs that are also part dinosaur.
Right.
Oh wow.
Yep, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So, game of the year.
Yeah. You also assassinated rabbits too, so I don't know what.
Guys, I'm coming to really enjoy this format, by the way. I didn't really know what to expect by just letting everybody sound off and then kind of taking our picks, but I think it's working. I don't know about you, but I feel like it's working. And Garret, I think I'm going to give the nod to you, man. I think your case for Makoto was the most compelling. I think a nod to Bayek as well.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
But Andrew,
I wish I played more of that.
Yeah, man. Andrew, what do you think? Are we okay with that?
I love all the characters from Persona 5. So I mean, we're gonna go with the sexy nurse, but I'm fine with this.
All right. I want to quickly. Okay, so congratulations to Makoto. You are bae. You are waifu, and whatever else the kids say about anime women.
Yay, anime.
Yay, anime. There's a couple nominations for best moment. I think this is a really tough one to discuss really in detail.
Right.
Maybe we're gonna skip that one if that's okay with you guys. I'll just kind of I'm hearing it's fine and a disappointment. Alex, why don't we?
Alex had an abortion in a car. Best moment of the year.
I can't get over that. Great.
That's gonna make its way. Like that joke is gonna carry its way onto the ultimate award of Game
I'm gonna
of the
tweet
Year.
about it every single day from now on to the end of 2018.
Alex, go ahead and talk about your best gaming moment of the year, dude.
So my best gaming moment of the year is actually, I think, a game that came out last year, but came out for Switch this year, which is Stardew Valley.
Okay.
So it's weird because it's not exactly a specific moment. It's just when you start in the game and you leave your old life behind and you leave this sort of capitalist, crappy company behind. You're like, I'm going to start a new life. I'm going to start a farm. And then the first month of your life is so lonely. It's like you get there and you talk to people and it's maybe one voice line, two voice line, they talk to you, and that's it. And then you go back home to your lonely house in the middle of the woods, and it's just like, wow, is this, growing up and sort of that. So it wasn't exactly a particular moment, but it was just sort of that aura, and it captured a feeling of loneliness that no game has captured for me. And for that, I think that I commend it for that.
Well, that was really well said, actually, because you said Stardew Valley. I'm like, what are you talking about? And you sort of kind of got me thinking about it, and actually works really well into Andrew's. Yes, Andrew's. Why can't I read that properly? Andrew's vote for the opening or for the Breath of the Wild, man. Why don't you talk about, Andrew, your pick for the best moment?
Yeah, so for me, it was between this and Wolfenstein 2 but with Wolfenstein 2, there was the impact and the anger. With Breath of the Wild, you almost have that Fallout or Elder Scrolls moment where you get out of the chamber. If you have no idea what's going on, you're get out of the chamber. It's all technological and everything, which is really weird for a Zelda game. We really don't see much of this kind of futuristic tech in Zelda. And then you just get out and you see this whole world at your fingertips, and it's beautiful and gorgeous, and you're buck naked, and you're just sitting there like, like you look around and you're just like, holy shit! Like, this is a Zelda game that's not confined to a single area. I can go around this entire thing, and then you do that, and you realize you learn everything. Nothing's handed to you. Nothing is. There's no real hints to anything either. You have to kind of go out and play on your own. And that moment for me, that was the first thing I touched on my Switch too, to kind of have it in that handheld and looking at it and looking at all that, just taking that in was such a special moment to me this year that it's really hard for me to really take anything else as into consideration for that.
Yeah, I just want to comment on you talking about taking it in and things being hard. I just want you would call me out on that if it were the other way around. And I'll jump on that point. In terms of like the best moment, I can almost like say even the best frame of that opening is mission objective: defeat Ganon.
Yep.
Yeah.
What are you talking
yeah.
about? Like that's not how this is supposed to go. So yeah, definitely a most memorable frame. I think without question goes to that. Garrett, I want to go to you next, man, because you and I are on the exact same page with this one.
Yeah.
It's tough to
It's
really
true, but
talk about without spoiling too
I want
much.
to exclude it because I want Chris to play this game and just
I
see
appreciate
that,
it.
because it's just so good. But I'll say another moment, and it's 4 words. It's winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's it just feels good when you get one, you know. So I've been playing PUBG since I got my PC built up back in September with my friends. And man, let me tell you, it's one of the better gaming moments of that year because of just the sense of just, I don't know, it's just all over the place. Just communicating with my long distance friends, online friends as well, and just having a squad together. It's like, hey, sometimes we're acting serious and we're going in and we're actually winning games and we're doing good. There's other times we're just really bad, but that's okay. And then there's other times we just goof around. We just like go in a vehicle and honk and just like go through the ocean and everything. I just feel like those were my best gaming moments of 2017 is when the winner chicken dinners and just playing with my friends.
Dude, that is such an out of the box answer. I love that so much. And anybody who has played or even come close to a chicken dinner is just kind of like nodding along right now. That is such a good answer.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. And again, I'll try to. With Wolfenstein, you're exactly right. It's exactly the halfway point, and BJ gets he gets this revenge that I actually continued on. I emptied my clip. My entire shotgun went into this person.
I dropped my controller when that happened. I was like,
yeah, that was really
everything.
good.
I'm not listening.
You're fine. We're not saying anything. It's fine. But Chris, tell me.
I don't think this works over headphones.
I think it makes it louder. It's like
yeah, exactly. You can't hear anything but the
I keep
spoilers.
to myself, and nobody else will hear them.
Yeah. Nintendo gets another nod, man. Chris, talk about your best.
Nintendo gets another nod. All right. So I didn't get into the winner chicken dinner and all the other crap or 1-2 switch. For me, again, as someone who hasn't really played Nintendo games in almost over a decade, and I don't know who has or hasn't played, so I won't. There's a moment at the end of New Donk City that I couldn't stop smiling. My wife had beaten the game before me. In fact, I couldn't touch the Switch until she beat through the campaign, the story, or whatever. And when she saw me get to that point, she stopped what she was doing. She ran to the couch to sit down next to me because she knew what was happening. And that music started playing, and then it kind of brings you out to the beginning of the city, and you go through the warp pipe, and then it's just fucking game on. And I couldn't wipe the smile off of my fucking face. I had a shit-eating grin for about 20 minutes, and I replayed that section over and over and over again because it is the best, happiest, pure joy moment in gaming I've had in this year, last year, the year before that, and probably many, many years previously. Maybe since when I first killed my first raid boss in WoW back in 2004, that I have so much joy and elation hit me all at once when at the end of that level, when you beat that part and you get to do that kind of celebratory thing of all things. I was so freaking happy. It was just the best feeling any video game has given me in a very, very long time.
I love how polar opposite that is from Wolfenstein's midpoint. I can only imagine. Andrew, I'm gonna throw this to you to talk about your moment. Why do I feel like I'm getting a little lost here? What's your moment?
We already did. We saw it with the opening with Breath of the Wild.
Oh, right. Okay, so what?
Yeah.
Decide.
You know, I really like Gary's.
I love the opening of Breath of the Wild too.
Don't stop. Shut up, Gary. You're about to win.
No, honestly, I mean, and somebody
overhyped.
Shut up, Chris. God, you're overhyped. I'm surprised with the whole like Horizon boner that you've had. It wasn't like an Aloy growing up sequence at the beginning of that game.
I'll tell you why later.
That's a good answer. That would have been good.
But I also want to say too to Chris's comment. the ending was better of Odyssey than that level. New Donk City was good, but the ending was better.
I love the ending. I love the ending, but I didn't get nearly as much of the smile boner as I did from New Donk City.
I was fully erect for the ending of Odyssey, where I was only half chub for that sequence. But no, I'm gonna give it to Garret for the PUBG moment. I think everybody that's kind of played that game.
It's not a game.
It's oh god, shut up, Overwatch fanboy.
Now, I've been playing it for a few weeks.
Overwatch, baby.
That's okay. That's I love it. Yep. Thank you for thinking of that, Garret. Because I totally I haven't even got one, and I can only imagine the amount of sweat that would pour out of my hands. It would only compare to similar moments in Bloodborne, where you beat kind of like an enemy or a boss or something like that. But like you just beat 100 people, which is how can you not? Quick.
Just go through it. So yeah.
No big deal. Like
really
whatever. You're just really great at games. That'd be nice.
And really great at games.
Couple quick shout outs from I didn't go through the nominees here that deserve special mention. I feel like the ending of What Remains of Edith Finch. I thought I knew where that was going to go, and then it took it one step further, and I thought that kind of hit me. Maybe I was just a little tired. I got a little misty at the end there, so shout out to the ending of What Remains of Edith Finch. Chad Waller says, should I even read Chad Waller's? Because honestly, I feel like he's trolling. He says Intro to Sonic Mania, is that good?
Oh no, he actually really liked the intro and then hated it at the end.
Okay.
It was like a nostalgia thing. Yeah.
Thomas said that Hellblade's final fight is really good. I haven't made it there yet, but I can only imagine. I'm about maybe a quarter or maybe a third of the way through that game, and that definitely has some really just, both gut-wrenching and difficult to achieve moments, and a lot of satisfaction coming out of Hellblade. Kyle just said Pray. I'm not sure what moment in Pray, but maybe just the entire game counted as.
No, he just likes to pray to Jesus.
Maybe.
Oh God, Chris.
And Jean-Luc said The Tempest in Life is Strange: Before the Storm, which I am working my way towards. Not at this moment, but maybe when we're done here. Next category. So congratulations to PUBG. That is the only award that you're going to win here that I will allow. I'm just kidding. I don't know why I get all mean there.
It's not no fucking game of the year.
We're gonna skip. We're gonna skip the game that you wish you played more. We're gonna go right on to the game that you did play the most this year. This is maybe not necessarily. This is a way for us to sort of show a little love to possibly not the game of the year or the best game of the year. It's just the game that you spent the most time with. Let's go with special shout out. Actually, we'll do this afterwards. So, Alex, why don't we start with you, man? What's the game that you spent the most time with in 2017?
So the game that I spent, I don't know what letters are showing up, but
It's
Overwatch. Overwatch is definitely the game that I spent the most time with this year.
My eyes.
And it's something that I feel weird giving it Game of the Year this year because I gave it Game of the Year last year, even though it's been just as good and they've been adding heroes. And it's something that with Overwatch with the seasonal events and basically every 2 months you get new skins, you get new things. It's one of probably the best shooter I've ever played, and that just draws me back in, whether it's a good event or a bad event, which I think is great. Playing with friends, and also just it's a multiplayer game. That story comes from the characters, even though it's just a multiplayer game. I know there's.
There goes Alex again.
I'm hearing the voice lines
Every time.
Did I get too heated in it?
Maybe it's just a little. The take was too
much.
hot.
Well, yeah, it's just I love the characterization in Overwatch, even though it's a multiplayer game, just with voice lines, with really subtle stuff, and I think that it's the best game out there. But I can't vote for it again this year. So.
Well, as the game that you played the most, it could be any game. So I love that we're reaching back a little bit with that because Overwatch is definitely a game that you can just play it at any time. It's like riding a bike, and you just jump in whether you want to play for serious or just have a couple of rounds. I kind of want to play that right now. So.
And also, yeah.
Can we play after this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh wait! You with Xbox?
No, PlayStation.
No, PC.
I got
Oh fuck!
I got
Sean,
PlayStation.
we need to play Xbox. Let's do it.
Let's do it. I just picked it up on Xbox. I originally got it on PlayStation, but I'm tired of being awesome.
I need to get live
schlong.
again because PC. For so long.
just last thing on Overwatch.
PC,
the Overwatch League is coming out, I think, January 10th, and I've never really been into esports, but
that's the game that's
Overwatch has got me in.
Sean, we need to play together. I used to be really into Overwatch. So.
Ooh, guys, let's do it. I love it.
I
Okay,
don't want to buy an Xbox again.
nice call out for Overwatch, Alex. I like it. Chris, what are you playing a lot these days, man? Now that you got a dad with 2 kids, or you are a dad with 2 kids.
So I am.
I don't know. You have a dad with 2 kids, maybe.
I have a dad with 2 kids, and I also have one of my own. All right, so I wrote down an answer, but so the game I played that came out this year that I played the most of is probably Zelda, but the game I actually played the most of is probably a very close toss-up between Diablo 3 and Overwatch. I love Diablo. I haven't gotten the latest DLC, the Necromancer, but it's just for me it's overpriced for the extra character and the little extra bit that they added.
I agree.
But
It's on sale right now.
I love Diablo 3. It's from what it was when it released with the auction house and all that bullshit to what it is now, just a fantastic dungeon crawler. I love it. Also, shout out to Heroes of the Storm, the best non-League of Legends Dota MOBA there is. Love Heroes of the Storm. A lot of Overwatch. But if we're talking this year, which I guess we're not, it would have been Zelda. But yeah,
No, it could be anything. It could be any. There's no rules.
Then an even three-way tie between the Blizzard games, Heroes of the Storm, Overwatch, and Diablo. Can I change my previous answer? Blizzard is the developer of the year, publisher of the year.
Yeah, you can. That's actually a publisher.
I'll take it.
Okay,
I'll change
Blizzard
mine too.
publisher of the year because those three games I've put cumulatively more than any other three games combined.
Nice, man.
To include Odyssey and Zelda, which I put 80 hours in the Zelda, and I love Zelda, and I'll get into it later. But I played a fucking lot of Overwatch and a lot of fucking Heroes of the Storm this year. They're games that you can just get into, play a couple of matches, and put down and go away. And like you said, I've got two kids. I don't have a lot of game time. So if my daughters are asleep and I'm like, hey, it's 11, I can play a couple of rounds of something real quick. I'm gonna hop in and do a couple of rounds of Heroes of the Storm or a couple of rounds of Overwatch, and then bounce out, go to bed. You looked at me when I said 11 o'clock. My daughters are in bed, but I do other things after my daughters are in bed too. So like my wife,
okay,
and pooping, not at the same time.
Good God!
He just keeps going.
I know, it's amazing.
Where's my
I
shovel?
probably
Where's
should
my shovel?
rein him in a little bit, but
don't bother. No, so those three games, Diablo, Overwatch, and Heroes of the Storm, a nice three-way tie. I love Blizzard games. I'm a sucker for everything they make.
nice, man. Okay, Overwatch is getting a lot of love. Garrett, what'd you spend a lot of time with this year?
Bay is Bay.
I put
don't know what that
most of the time in Persona 5, definitely, to finish and wrap up the story.
Did you feel
not much to
obligated,
say.
or was that like because you wanted
So
to?
that's the thing. It is my game of the year nomination. But like it did drag on very much so at the end. The ending was spectacular, and I enjoyed. I had my time with it, but I was not inclined to. Okay, I'm gonna restart it again to max out everything because I was a little burnt out on it. It was about 130 hours, I think, I played into that game.
Holy crap!
Just to beat the story, yeah. And that took a long. I love I enjoyed my ride with it, but like that last bit, maybe that last fourth or fifth of that game, I'm like, okay, you're dragging on a little too much to my taste. So I don't want. I want to give a special shout out actually from last year what I played. Third most of, because second most was Zelda. Third most was Fire Emblem Echoes.
Nice.
That is a game that came out of left field, and it's a 3DS game that came out in May. It's a weird now in that interesting area where the Switch is out, but we have a fantastic line of 3DS games still already. But Fire Emblem Echoes, I've put about 50 hours into it. I still have not beaten it yet, and I still enjoy because I just go at it again. It's a more classical feel rather than the other Fire Emblem games. The other Fire Emblem games were much newer, has much different pace to it, whereas this had a very down to earth, set more of positioning chess piece type of game rather than clashing two characters together. To more of children, it was more like, okay, how do you place your actual pieces together, and how do you pace your attacking and defending, which I really enjoyed. The pacing's really good, and even when I lose a game or whatever, I was playing on Classic, by the way. When I play on Classic, I don't want to lose any character, so I instantly restart. And what's really great about that game, as a turn-based like kind of hourglass where you can actually go back on a certain amount of terms and just play it from there. So I thought that was really handy as well. So quick shout out to that game.
Definitely a shout out to that game. And you know, I love real time strategy. I remember back in the day playing out StarCraft and Warcraft and Command and Conquer. And I would always look at the turn based games and go like, I can't do it. I can't get into it. And even as XCOM has come out and become extremely popular, and even back in the day when my friends were playing Final Fantasy Tactics, I've gotten to like it more and more. But my heart was always with real time strategies. But Fire Emblem was really the game that brought me into, I can get into this. And it was a little bit of the cheesy Japanese, and some of the characters are just like over the top and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, special shout out to Fire Emblem. Last year I probably would have been right with you with Birthright. That was a game that, like, had I just maybe been in the EB Games at the right time, or maybe had the eShop open just at an impulse kind of moment, I would have been like right there just to buy the other packs that were, or the other games, I guess, technically. So special shout out to those guys. Andrew, where did you spend all your time this year, dude?
Between Persona 5 and probably Friday the 13th. I remember playing a lot of those. I mean, Friday the 13th for me was a fun game, even though it's a broken mess. But it's a broken mess in the sense that it's a lot of fun, and you could really. It was a terrifying game when you're playing as one of the students, or one of the camper or college people, or no, what is it, camp people?
Counselor.
It is not. It is midnight. I am butt ass tired. But yeah, the camp counselors. So like when you're playing as that, and you're just sitting there for in a closet, just hoping Jason doesn't get to you, or you're down to your last little bit of life, and you're trying to get past the line, and Jason popped up in front of you. You know, it may not have been the game that I played absolutely the most this year. That's pretty sure it's one of Persona 5 for me, if I recall. But that game, I took a lot of time in that game, and that's probably I've had some of my fondest memories in that game, just because of the terror and the jumping and talking to my friends and hearing people on the mic being like, "I'm gonna come get you, little piggy." Oh my gosh. You know, it's some weird shit that happened in that game. So,
well, this isn't really an award. I don't think that we can really give out. I guess the probably I would say the most compelling cases were for Overwatch, and with a little like tag-alongs with some Blizzard stuff. Special shout-outs from the staff here at We the Nerdy. Lawbreakers. Chad said he played a lot of Lawbreakers, and I think it was him and 6 other people, unfortunately. Exactly.
I played
I was really tempted, man. I was really looking forward to. That might be one of my most disappointing, or one of the most disappointing things about this year was
the beta killed it for me.
That didn't do well. I felt really bad about that. I wanted great things for that team. I love Cliff Bleszinski, and I want him to do more. I don't want him to go away. Persona 5, like you said. Neo, Thomas said that he spent a lot of time with Neo. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is in there. Ghost Recon Wildlands, some really big games in here. So, yeah, man, what a great year. Let's quickly run through, because I know we're running a little long, and I apologize, guys. Let's do the best game that nobody played. I wanted to just quickly talk about indie game, which there's a number of nominations for Cuphead. I think Cuphead will walk away with that one. But let's talk about games that nobody played this year. Alex, did you? Well, this is a common theme here. Do you have anything else to say about your vote for best game that nobody played?
I'll have to think. Come back to me.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Game. It looked like it was going to be the Switch game that was going to make it appearance
all right,
again.
Yeah. Oh, right. I wrote it down. Right. Yeah. Wheels of
Aurelia.
I forgot the name. Wheels of Aurelia. It's
highway abortion.
Yeah, no, like I think I've said already a lot about it, and highway abortions are definitely a big thing. But it's a game unlike anything I played, and I watched the trailer, and it has this really charming Italian music playing in the background. And it's just like people talking, and there's this guy who's talking about UFOs, and that there's like 3 popes, and 2 of them are real, but one of them's fake. And I was like, oh, okay, it's pretty cool. So it'd have to go with
acid.
Okay, I feel like your chat about it before is gonna maybe nullify its its validity for this category, but I'm glad it made an appearance again. Andrew, did you play any games that nobody else played?
Oh God, well, those Dead Alliance for sure.
But the best game that nobody played.
Best game nobody played. I'd probably say Yakuza Kiwami.
Ooh, why is it good?
If you haven't played a Yakuza game, they're like these Japanese soap opera games that have like there are like they have like mini RPG elements, but like little brawlers. So then they have like all these little mini games you can play. Like you can play classic Sega arcade games and do all these little submissions and like own apartments and help other people out. So it's just crazy. Strictly like if you're a hardcore Japanese fan, these games are right up your alley. Because Yakuza 0 and Kiwami came out, but Kiwami I think got a little bit less attention than Zero did. Zero's up there for a lot of Game of the Year nominations. Kiwami really wasn't, because Kiwami's just a port of or remastering of the original PS2 Yakuza 1. But I think it's definitely it's well deserved. I think it's $30, and we think you gave it a review, and I personally just think it was a great game that can give you easily 70 hours of gameplay, just dicking around, doing random shit, or going to random shops in Shibuya.
Holy crap, man! That there's too many Yakuza games that even came out this year to even keep track of. Garrett, did you play anything that stands out to you that maybe nobody else played?
Yeah, I got into one game that I chose to review. And that's Numantia. I don't think probably no one has played. So I leaned into more of that.
I never even
in the
heard
category.
of it. We got to do the lookup and
all right, yeah,
here.
sure. That's another turn-based strategy game. And I was like, I'm gonna go for it because I like that type of stuff, and we'll see how this goes. It's an all right game. I reviewed it. I give it an okay score. But what I really loved about it, it's based off of actual true historical context about back in the Roman days, that there was this town or this civilization called Numantia, and where they had to defend their lives from the Roman influence. So this is what this whole campaign is about. Is about the Romans and the Numantians. And the gameplay and the pacing is not the best in the world. But from this studio making this type of game, I think it has a place, like it has a space in the turn-based strategy game, which is really rare to find. But what's really unique about it is that there are stories, there are little anecdotes here and there about actual historical figures and characters that can give you choices. And based off of those choices, there's actual consequences in your battles. So you might get an advantage or a huge disadvantage. And so that's what I really enjoyed about it. It's a good a mixing of good narrative elements and some great turn-based strategy games elements to it as well. It's just I could tell it's kind of their first game. Their animations weren't the best in the world. I wasn't able to finish it because the pacing was off, and I was at such a disadvantage. But I feel like they did a really good job trying to pace this out, or trying to set a unique game in the genre. So I give it to Numantia.
Nice, man. Well, we're looking at some of the gameplay here, and like this is just such a you game. This is clearly your brain is on another level, and it looks intense, man. It looks really interesting. I'm glad we got to take a look at that. My vote, on the other hand, goes to a little game called Nex Machina. I think this game is actually maybe even more slightly more accessible. Nex Machina is going to be one of the last of its kind. As Housemarque moves on to other things, I had such a fortunate opportunity to spend a lot of time on this on both my computer and then actually hooking up to a 4K TV, and it is gorgeous. It is so slick, so smooth. In my opinion, it's a little bit more dynamic actually than Resogun, one of the previous games that Housemarque made. And so few people played this that and their other game that the name is escaping me right now. They have to move away from this genre, and that really is really unfortunate. It just is such a wonder to look at, and if you've ever watched anybody who's truly skilled at Nex Machina, it really is a marvel, man. Like, it looks like such a like anybody can play it, but to master it and watch somebody do it is totally special. So my vote goes to Nex Machina, and I'm torn because I liked your description of Numantia. What do you think of a tie, Andrew? What do you think we should do with this one, man?
I'm down. Let's do a tie.
You're like, whatever.
What about
it's late.
Danganronpa?
You're like, whatever. It's late.
Oh wait. Did Chris say anything?
I
yet?
did not. No.
It says
No,
NA
it's okay,
next to
Chris,
it says not applicable next to your name.
Yeah, it does, and I was thinking about it, and you're right, I did write that. But the best game that nobody played was the Danganronpa Ultra Despair Girls that I reviewed. That game, as bizarre as it may have been, it's the most bizarre game I've played this year. It's also one of the best games that I've played that nobody else has played. It's a visual novel, sure, and it's, you know, maybe the gameplay mechanics aren't fantastic, the controls aren't fantastic, the combat is so, but the story is really, truly, truly special and engaging. And it's what kept me going from the beginning to the end of that game, is that story of these children who are just terrified of adults, and you learn as you go through, you learn that the children who are killing their parents aren't necessarily the bad guys. And by the credits rolling, I felt bad for not the parents who were being murdered by their kids, but for the kids who were doing it, because you learn why they feel this way. And it really, really is it's a wonderful game. If you can get it on Vita, get it on Vita. If you can get it on PlayStation 4 for cheap, if you can find it in a used, but get it. I think it's a fantastic game. It's not very long. I beat it over the course of, I think, 2 or 3 nights, a couple hours a night. It really is it's a visual novel, but it's a really, really, really good one, I think. It's not going to win any awards, but it is a great game.
Well, it's not going to win any awards. It's not going to win this one. The award goes to, I'm vetoing this. The award goes to Nex Machina. Congratulations. I voted for you, and I'm awarding this one. Guys, this is it. This is the final one. Let us discuss the GOTY, the Game of the Year for 2017, as decided by the We the Nerdy editors and whatnot.
Mass Effect Andromeda!
And Mass Effect Andromeda, congratulations to BioWare Montreal. Rest in peace. Can you imagine? Like, we just become a joke of a... anyway, let's be real about it.
This nomination is actually brought to you by EA Games.
Yeah, our selection is limited to those in the vault at EA Access. Remember, the Shtick Man is here. Anyway, Game of the Year nominees are... The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, of course, Horizon Zero Dawn, Lawbreakers, Persona 5, Assassin's Creed Origins, and Pyre. That is what we have to select from. Alex, man, tell us. Tell us what your... Pyre, yep.
I didn't play it.
Don't do that, Alex.
Jean-Luc's in the chat, man, so you better apologize to him.
Jean-Luc's right there. He's in my room, actually.
Really?
I wish. No, I wish.
I would have been blown away. Like, I
that's
did not know that.
Oh, that'd be really cool. Ugh. But yeah, my game of the year, I'm playing Stardew Valley right now, and I'm really taken by it. But I have to go with Zelda Breath of the Wild because it's just, as a game, I'm looking at it, and I'm so many games given out, like that come out yearly. Zelda Breath of the Wild, there's just nothing for me wrong with it. I mean, it has so many great moments. There's so much freedom. You can play it how you want. I mean, I've only put in like 60 hours into the game. I've beat all the Divine Beasts, but I know people have put in 200 hours and they've experienced the game different than I have, and the journeys. And you can do the Divine Beasts in different orders. You can play the game just doing side quests the whole time. You don't have to go after the Divine Beasts, or you can go straight to Ganon, which is what I did with one of my friends on an account. We just each had a Joy-Con, sort of did what the IGN people did, right? But I went straight to Ganon, got our asses kicked, and then beat the Divine Beast and came back. But it's just a game that is so polished. It's such a step forward for the Zelda franchise that I can't not give it Game of the Year. But
well, I know a guy who couldn't give it Game of the Year, and that's Chris Berto.
All right, so I'm going to lose this argument, and I succeed to that now. I know I'm going to lose this argument, but
that's smart.
I think Zelda is a fantastic game. I take nothing from Zelda. It is not the Game of the Year. I think if you take the name Zelda out of that title, and it's a generic title, the exact same game, but Zelda's not it. You reskin Zelda, you reskin Ganon, you reskin Link, and you make that same exact game, it doesn't win Game of the Year.
Can I tell you, I just need to interrupt for a second. I'm so sorry. I don't like doing that very much, but I think that is the stupest thing that people say about Zelda. I think that makes no sense at all, and people just regurgitate that garbage. Of course it would change the game. Of course it would. You could do that with anything. Reskin Mass Effect, and people don't love it as much because it changes the game.
I disagree. I think that game got the praise that, again, it is a fantastic game. I loved it. I got 80 hours into it. I love that game. It's the only time a Zelda game has compelled me to beat it, right? I thoroughly enjoyed that game. I think it got the high marks that it got and such the high praise because of what it did for the Zelda franchise. Okay, what it did to Zelda is fantastic, and I will give it that. It turned that franchise on its head. Okay,
but why do people now want to climb every surface in Horizon?
Why does every game have to be Zelda?
Well, I'm saying your argument was that it's only great for Zelda, and I'm saying that a lot of games from now on are going to like copy the model of Zelda.
Because I think Horizon did more things better than Zelda did. I think the story for me, this is for me. I think the story is better.
As if your argument could, as if your life wasn't hard enough, right? Right now, like you're already up against the wall, and I'm like hounding you like an asshole.
Not at all. I'm going to lose this argument, and I get that.
I'm not making it easy for you.
This is my. I think the story is better in Horizon. I think the characters are better. I don't care that they're voice acted versus whatever. Although there is voice acting in the Zelda, I think the characters are better and well developed in Horizon. I think the combat is more engaging and more fun and more varied. I think the enemies are more fun and more varied. I think exploration.
Garret, jump in, man.
With the exception of paragliding and the ability to climb everything, I think exploration is more fun. I had more fun traversing the world in Horizon than I did climbing a tower and paragliding. Yeah, that's great and that's a lot of fun. For me, that might have been the best part of Zelda is being able to climb every surface and paraglide. But that doesn't make the entire game the game of the year. I think the boss fights that I had with the T-Rexes and the stuff like that in Horizon, for me, were more fun than going through the Divine Beast or fighting Ganon or fighting the Bokoblins or fighting the Lizalfos or any of that stuff. For me, the things that Horizon and Zelda have in common, I think Horizon does better. Better story, better combat, better enemy variety. I can care less about the visuals. Horizon looks gorgeous. Zelda on the Switch looks fantastic. I can't believe how good that game looks, both in handheld and on a 4K TV. That game looks amazing.
It's funny because Chelsea and I were playing both games at the same. I was playing Zelda on one TV, and it was just like, holy crap! It's so far. Before I toss it over to, sorry, I just want to make sure that we're mindful of time.
Yeah, I understand. Zelda is fantastic, and I thoroughly do enjoy Zelda. I love it. I got 80 or 90 shrines in. I'm done with it. I'm not going to go back. I'm not getting the DLC. I beat Ganon, and I kind of ended it there. I had no reason to go back for me. Horizon for me is just I was more compelled to continue to play and go back and play and platinum Horizon, and then go back and play the DLC and platinum that. I think Horizon 1-for-1. Horizon turned the studio on its head. Zelda turned that franchise on its head. I think Horizon did more for Guerrilla Games than Breath of the Wild did for Zelda.
Well, the funny thing is you're actually defending up against, I think, maybe the wrong game based on what I see Garret and Andrew have put in their spots. If they've actually changed their minds since then, that might be something else. But Garret, man, tell me, is Chris defending up against the wrong game, or have you chosen something else?
Oh, I mean, I've chosen Persona 5. That was my Game of the Year nomination. I know it's not going to win Game of the Year.
Why?
Because I know okay, so it has its own faults. I've noticed that as well. But what I really enjoyed about Persona 5 is this journey, just going through that game. The story, the characters behind it, it just reminds me of that formula of Persona 4 Golden, but better. Has a better package, better combat. The pacing is a little bit ebb and flow, but overall, I was really into it at the time when it released and it got out. I just didn't really care. I remember tossing out Zelda off to the side just to play Persona 5, just nonstop until I beat that game. So and I was actually talking with my friends. They were playing Persona 5 as well, kind of at the same pace, and we were just having great conversations just about the story. Who we're gonna date, who's gonna be our wife, or anything like that. The systems behind it. Once you get into it, it's just layer after layer, and it's not like Xenoblade Chronicles where it just mashes you with tutorials and everything. I think it does a really great job of eases you in. It's like, okay, yeah, here's a character relationship, here's a persona. This is how they work together. This is how you get into the story, and the story matches up really well with the mechanics. I just think overall, Persona 5 is it was a masterpiece to me. even though it has its faults, and I gulped it in, and I really enjoyed the ending as well, and it was a great closure to that game, and it gives my vote for Game of the Year. I want to say a little bit more about Zelda, Breath of the Wild. I did beat that game. My first Switch game as well. I was in awe of it. I think it was a really, really great game. I think it just there was some stuff I was like, I agree that the story was very minimal. And I think the kind of the bosses weren't the best in the world, and like I think the Divine Beast later was much easier than the beginning. That's what my fault was at that. It was like, oh, I can beat this pretty quickly because I have this and this now.
Right.
But even at that, what I really enjoyed about it is just like it's down to its core. It is Zelda. You can go anywhere you want, and you're coming back to beat Ganon. That's how a lot, like the first Zelda, coming out. That's how it was. You can go anywhere you want, and you may not have the tool to get there yet, but you can pretty much go anywhere. That's what I loved about Zelda. It felt free. I was so free in that game, and I think that's what gave me a special shout out. And it's one of the very few Zelda games I've beaten as well. Horizon, going through it right now, I enjoy it very, very much. It's a great package. Gorilla turned it around and made a great new IP. It's one of the best new IPs, right? The formula is still there, and it is still kind of adopted from other games. I've seen this formula before, and that's now. I'm not saying about the story. I'm just saying from a gameplay perspective. It nails it pretty well. What I've played so far, but. And the world is so unique and different. It's just, I think the formula of the game, we've seen it before, and I don't think that's why we should give it Game of the Year, because in my eyes, that core is not unique to me. I think that's pretty much it for me.
All right. Well, I don't always love when people start their vote for Game of the Year with like, it has its problems, but. So I was kind of hoping for a little more for Persona. So I'll throw it to Andrew, man. You're not allowed to say it has its problems, but why is Persona 5 the best game of 2017?
So for me, there were really 5 top-tier titles. There was Persona 5, Breath of the Wild, Odyssey, Horizon, and Wolfenstein. Those were really my top 5. What really puts Persona above all the other ones is the flexibility you have with the characters, and the fact that there really isn't a flat character in the game. And so everything is so polished, everything is so well developed. Yes, there are times where you're grinding, but even then, to me at least, the grinding elements weren't really wearing me out as much as some people have. And there's so much to do in that game, and the ability to kind of be that school student and kind of almost like role play. It's truly you're role playing as a school student that you just basically to create your own destiny. And Horizon's great, yes. Breath of the Wild is great, yes. And by the way, Breath of the Wild has cooking. Horizon doesn't, so that's why it trumps Horizon. I can do what the hell I want. Wolfenstein has a great characterization as well, but there's flaws with the gameplay.
Big time. Yep.
With Persona, there really isn't much flaws in the gameplay. It's so vibrant. The soundtrack is phenomenal. I still have that soundtrack on repeat from when it came out. That jazz vibe is so good. Even the voice acting in that game is just top notch. Like, they put their heart and soul into a game that's really been in development for 8 years, or 8 or whatever how many years. But it's really a game that it's really hard to find a lot of huge faults with it. There are minor faults here and there, yes, but that's a game where you're going to look at JRPGs for the next 10 years, and you're going to go, is it as good as Persona 5? Nothing else on this list you can really go, is it as good as? Because, let's face it, almost every Zelda has been better than the one before it. So, you have your favorites, like my personal favorite's Wind Waker, but there are people that like A Link to the Past, and same with Mario.
That's an interesting way of looking at Game of the Year, man.
Yeah, but like with Persona, yes, Persona 4 is good, but Persona 4 doesn't have what Persona 5 has. Persona 5, I am jamming, like it has everything that made Persona 4 great and jumped it up to another level. And that's why for me, like there's nothing else on top. Because I was for sure 2 weeks ago to put Wolfenstein 2 at the top of my list. Then I was gonna put Breath of the Wild at the top of my list. And then I sat back and went, which game did I have the most fun with this year? Bar none, and that is 100% Persona 5. Those characters, the gameplay, the animation and the menu system, and just everything just popping out and just it's an explosion of color and vibrancy, and just it's not as dark as Persona is. You don't get that perception when you're looking at the menus or you're talking to characters. There's always this kind of like a person. There's always layers to everything, and you can always see with the characters, especially the bosses you fight with, there's an outer exterior which is colorful and bubbly, but as you tear through those layers, you see there's a darkness and an evil to it, and that's really what appeals to me, is that it's such a realistic game in that sense that you don't have that in the other games.
Mm-hmm. Man, that was pretty good, Andrew.
Boom.
That was pretty good. Gosh, I think that the cool thing that nobody's really said about Persona is that, and it was like this with 4, and that was my jumping on point with the series, is that when you play a Persona, you're like, I'm just going to do this next thing. Or I'm just going to go into this next room if you're in a dungeon, or I'm just going to get to this next like level of the dungeon, or I'm going to hang out with this person, I'm going to do one more day. I'm going to do one more day. And that's how, when you get through 100 hours of this game, you're like, how did I do that? And it was because you had multiple moments where you just couldn't put it down, and where the game convinced you like, this is only going to take a minute, and like it keeps dangling a carrot in front of you. So I'm loving the love for Persona, because I mean, maybe it's just because I've heard so much love towards The Legend of Zelda that I'm like even hesitant to even talk about it, and my mind, I feel like, was made up so early in the year that absolutely nothing can top this, and I'm battling with, does that still hold any water? But ultimately, I think for me, my vote does go to Breath of the Wild, because this is my forever game. This is, if I were to go to a desert island, I want to bring Breath of the Wild with me, because that will probably last longer than I will in my time here on the planet Earth. I think one of the best things that happened to it was the tracker, where it shows where you've been on the map. That was DLC, of course, doesn't necessarily count towards the Game of the Year maybe consideration, but it did open our eyes up to, if you think you've seen everything, you definitely haven't. There's a lot more here. And I think it just took a lot of balls for Nintendo to go, normally you're going to enter a dungeon, you're going to get like the hook shot, or you're going to get this item, and you're going to have that, you're going to have a time with that, and then you're going to move on to the next thing. With this one, you throw all out the window, you're getting your, whatever it is, 4 abilities, 2 of them are bombs, and that's it, man. Like, the only other variety that you're getting is actually from the weapons and from your own ingenuity. And Garrett touched on this a little bit with, you have all the tools, and the way that you employ those tools is why I think it's the Game of the Year, because it's not just you have an opportunity to do everything. I don't think the game should necessarily get a lot of credit for a lot of things to do, but it's the satisfaction that you get out of discovering those ways and those things to do that allows games to kind of elevate to that next level. I never really felt like that sense of wonder with Horizon as I did when I rolled a boulder down a hill and smashed it into an explosive barrel that caused a chain reaction that was all based on physics, so that I was able to raid this bokoblin camp that I just wasn't able to do with my own bare hands. Like, I hadn't had a weapon that was strong enough, and I didn't have enough weapons. I didn't have enough a good enough weapon. I didn't have enough hearts and all those things. So I had to go, I still need to beat this. I still want that chest in the middle. And there's something so primal about the gameplay that's involved in Zelda that will stand the test of time, in my opinion. I don't know if I agree necessarily, Andrew, with Persona on, like, if we look back on this one and go, that is a symbol of gaming in 2017, which is sort of where I'm going with Game of the Year. So I'm a little torn, because I'm hearing 2 people say Persona 5. I've got 2 people saying Zelda. So, and we've got Chris on the other.
So here, okay, if I can be the tiebreaker, then I think you made a very salient point just now about, Zelda being your forever game. And I think, for me, I might be as hard on Zelda as I am, because I don't have a previous connection to the series. I don't have a
I don't have a huge one either, by the way.
For the series. I've never, and I mentioned this to you before, I've never played a Zelda game. It's the very first Zelda game I've ever booted up and played for longer than 5 minutes. But you make a good point about, like your example about the boulder rolling down and this and that and other stuff and the things that it does. And, you know, you got your Desert Island game. What's the game that you're going to play over and over and over and over and over and over
There
and
is
over
a
and
deserted
over
island
again?
in that game. They'll play Eventide on a desert island.
Eventide.
Like, that's incredible. Like, and you find that by accident. You're like, what is this world? They took all my weapons.
I want to go there. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that is so awesome.
Well, if you want to take me out, make me the tiebreaker, since I'm the one guy doing Horizon, the edge goes to Zelda.
I think Breath of the Wild, what does a really good job is it feels like I have no boundary at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, with that game, I felt like there was no obstacles. Like, can I do this? It was more like how far I can take this, and I just went farther, farther, and farther. So yeah, that's what's unique about Zelda. It does.
Even the puzzle that everybody hates, the motion control one, there was still like a meta thing where you're like, what if I do this? And you flip the whole thing over, and it worked. And it's like, they shouldn't really allow you to do that. That's so cheap. That is so cheap. I think you might be on mute there, Chris, but I do see you talking. You may have muted yourself and forgotten.
Did anybody beat that puzzle legitimately, or did everybody flip the paddle?
No, I totally flipped it. I didn't even look up that as a solution, and I love that we all remember that. I think that game has so many memorable moments that we all tackle a little bit differently, or the fact that we all landed on the same solution is a whole other reason why it's magical. Andrew,
or broken.
I need to go to you on this, though, man. We are the decision makers on this. Have you been swayed? I feel like there was a little momentum swinging back and forth.
There wasn't. Ironically, I was playing Breath of the Wild earlier today. And I got to the part with the that part. Pond. You have to release Nadia or whatever. You get the giant dragon.
Yes, and the dragon. You can go the whole game.
I discovered that on my. I knew the quest, but I had to find it on my own and all that, which is really cool. Good. And figuring out how to beat it was really awesome. But I look at it as we talk about forever games. And while Breath of the Wild can be a forever game as well, so can Persona 5 in the sense that one playthrough is really not enough to experience everything because you can't do every job, you can't get every relationship. You can have like 8 waifus in that game, and each one acts differently. Trust me, I've seen every video on how they all end. My sexy doctor one is the one I want, but I also want the.
Good.
I have a theory, and did you guys play 4? I have a theory that doctor is Marie. From 4.
Oh, really?
I don't know if that's true or not, but
that's not true. Because there's an actual ending of Persona 4 Golden that involves Mary, and I don't want to get into really in-depth lore, but that's a good segue. I think the creators were like, "We love Mary. Can we just put in Persona 5
I thought
somehow?"
that instantly when I saw her. I'm like, holy crap, that's the same person.
I kind of did want to take a second, too, and to give a quick shout-out to Resident Evil 7, because that was originally, when that came out, it was my game of the year, because that game
too scary.
Was terrifying. I played that game in VR.
In VR. Oh.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Fuck that. No way.
Terrifying. Like, having the dad grab you by the eyes in VR, and I'm like, oh my god, did I just piss myself? Because it was that scary. I think I did. That's why I bought the pens. By the way, shout out to the pens. But
sponsored of Really Nerdy Game of the Year 2017.
No, I really think. I mean, I understand Breath of the Wild and all of its praise, and it deserves every ounce of praise. Odyssey does too. Wolfenstein does too. But
does too.
No, it doesn't.
The one game that wasn't mentioned here, just a quick rundown of the second place before we absolutely wrap things up. Nier Automata was criminally under-discussed in this conversation. It is probably the best opening hour. You absolutely have to play it. Even if you don't even beat it, it might be the best opening hour of a game this year. It might even be better than the opening of Zelda, as we talked about. Obviously, Odyssey's getting shout-outs. Sonic Mania, Chad Waller really liked that as well. Assassin's Creed Origins and Jean-Luc loved PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. But of course, that is not eligible because not a game.
Just
Yeah, it's
one
not.
thing about if we're talking about this sort of lifetime game, you kind of have to go with a multiplayer game. Then you kind of have to go with a PUBG if you're going to argue that something different every time. You're going to have to go with you don't know what's going to happen. Like maybe you'll come in first, 42nd, like different things and updates and that. Because I mean, Persona, sure you can play different things, but eventually you'll run out of things. So I think arguing that Persona is the game of the year because it has so many possibilities. And Zelda's not the game of the year because it's open, but it's not sort of limitless. I think that you got to bring in multiplayer then, and I think for game of the years, Zelda's the best because it takes Zelda, it makes it open world, and you don't lose anything. Like Zelda games on their own, it's game of the year nominations basically every year, but you make it open world, you add climbing everywhere, and it elevated it. So that's my final argument, I
I
guess.
just want to say this: if you're playing on a desert island, how the hell are you gonna have internet to play multiplayer games?
You don't
You're
need it.
gonna
You
be
don't.
by
You have a
yourself.
Switch. It's battery powered.
But if you're by yourself, you can't play PUBG on a Switch right now.
Look, man, you
Let's
bring
play-
like those portable battery chargers. Like you come with your Switch and a whole stock
yeah.
full of those things. That's
Lifetime of battery.
I got
awfully
a packed
prepared to
food,
be
but I
marooned
packed
on
my
an
Switch
island.
batteries.
Imagine the situation that the reason that you're on this deserted island is because your plane crashed, and your plane was a FedEx plane or an Amazon.
All right,
It was
all right,
carrying
let's not gaslight.
all the inventory that you need.
Drones.
What do you think, man? I'm strongly for Zelda on this, but you had the argument for Persona. Are we gonna have to like fight to the death?
The right answer is
I think it's Zelda.
I
should
can't.
vote.
I can't give it to Zelda. I as
You
much
can't?
as I like that game, I can't. The reality is that it is a very good game. It takes
Yeah.
elements of Dark Souls, Elder
Yeah,
Scrolls,
you're right.
all that, but it takes what's best of other games and mixes it into its own. Persona 5 is a dating simulator, Pokemon, RPG, job
It takes
simulator.
things from other elements.
Visual
and makes it its own.
novel.
That's the same thing.
So it's the exact same thing. It
But I'm
takes
saying, but
things
it
from
takes
other
those
games
and
and makes it its
polishes-
own. So
Shut-
it's the
shut up,
same
yes.
thing as Zelda.
It's
Listen,
Zelda.
bald boy. Shut up.
That's a really good argument. Okay, John Luke in the chat says if you can't decide, just give it to Pyre. And I
No,
wish I had
I
a
agree. Yeah.
Fire.
No.
Congratulations to
Because
Pyre. You
June
are the
Pyre.
winner.
2016.
Of We the Nerdy's Game of the Year.
Why don't we just give it to Dead Alliance then at that point? Like, shit, let's just do that.
Jesus. Okay.
Worst and best game of the year. I mean, honestly, I think that you can look at Breath of the Wild and go, you can spend endless amount of hours with it, but shut up, Jean-Luc. But
George Splatfest, what's up?
at the end of the day, what gives you more character development? Who do you invest more in for characters? You don't have a character really to invest in besides the Link in
But-
Zelda.
Like, it's not just characters; it's the total package of the game. I mean, if we're talking about best characters in the game, we've already had that discussion, I guess.
Right. But it's hard to say. Because this has been one of the best years in gaming in a very, very long
Oh,
time.
absolutely.
And there are at least 7 or 8 other titles we could talk about potentially that are game of the year that we haven't even had a chance to talk about.
Like
But Nier Automata, Yakuza 0, what else?
So
June
what if
2016.
Zelda and Persona cancel each other out, and we've got to get something
Horizon!
else in?
Oh my god, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
That's the landscape we find ourselves in, gentlemen.
We're gonna vote PUBG then.
Hey,
Oh god.
Horizon. Best IP of the year.
How do we break?
Garrett, where are you, man? Because you had
Because I
mentioned.
played both of these extensively as well. Persona 5, to me, yes, it is better. It is a better game, because I enjoyed it more than Zelda. Zelda's a very composed game. There's trade-offs. That's the thing. I think Persona 5 is better just because the way they introduced everything, not just how many layers it is. It's seamlessly layered. They just give you it, and you're like, hey, you know how to do this. You just go into the conversation and everything. What I really like about Zelda is from a core perspective, game perspective, it's just that sense of awe and discovery, and what Sean said, that forever game, that makes sense to me, because one thing after another, you just discover new things.
Mhm.
Can I say this?
And I think it's so free and so open, where I feel like you got these two games, you can't really quantify which one's better or worse, Because they're both really,
No,
really...
we need a score. We need a 10 or a 10.1.
weird scores.
No, I'm just
Okay.
kidding.
If you gave both games to a kind of a casual gamer, and this is probably a very bad argument, it's probably an awful way of doing this, but if you were to give both games to like a casual gamer, say, hey, this is a game, and let them play them both, which one do you think like a more kind of casual gamer is going to pick up? For me, I and again, it's a horrible scale, but I feel like Zelda would be the one that would take it.
Here's the thing. I think the category Game of the Year is like, I mean, I have my Game of the Year as Persona 5. I think Game of the Year itself, the category of game is just, it is the game. Whereas
2017 Game of the Year.
Yeah, it's the
It's
game.
2017.
And I think Zelda has to be the game because from a course perspective, we see some very unique perspectives, but also tying back to what the franchise is really about. And it's just this open world, this sense of awe. And I don't know. I think I have to go with Zelda on this. And you're right. For a casual gamer, I'd rather give someone Pokemon rather than Persona. Originally, I would give them, hey,
start with P.
Pokemon. Try Pokemon first, and then if you like that, try Persona because that's way more zany, way more complicated. But once you get into it, it's a journey. It is a serious journey.
I think Journey should just win Game of the Year.
There
that
you
game
go.
is fucking great.
There we go.
So.
There you go. Play with awesome schlong if you like. Guys, we're going to close things out. I'm so glad to hear Garrett kind of come around on that. That makes me feel better with what I was about to do anyways here, which was tally up just a vote. So Game of the Year, the #1 place got a vote from myself. It got a vote from Kyle Simcox and as well as our very own Alex here, Alex Handziuk. So just by that notion, that's a 3. That's 3 votes for that. That wins the overall vote from the editors at We the Nerdy. We've got Garrett coming around here too. We got everybody kind of going like, yeah, I think it might have to be Zelda. And I was really hoping to turn around. I wanted to grab my copy of it on the Wii U so that we could officially award the Game of the Year 2017 to a Wii U game. Congratulations to Nintendo. What an absolutely special game. It's a perfect marriage of gameplay as well as launching a new console. I think there's a lot to be said about the importance of this game that we can look back to in future years. We're going to really look back on Legend of Zelda as being this launch pad to more innovation in the industry when it comes to consoles, more innovation when it comes to open world games, and all the rest in between. And if you haven't already, you have to play this game with the Japanese voice track instead of the English voice track because it's 1,000 times better. Guys, I think that's going to wrap it up. That was a lot of fun. It was way longer than I thought it was going to be. And Andrew, I'm sorry. I thought it was going to be like 90 minutes, but we're way over. You said your piece.
Yeah.
Nothing.
You said your piece. Zelda is the winner. We are the most original Game of the Year award ceremony ever. Nobody else is giving it to them.
Yeah, only us.
Horizon got screwed.
That
We
is
should
it.
just given it to Yakuza 0, you know?
Why not? I mean, or
Why not?
Nier, or
Nier.
Overwatch. I
Or
mean,
the NES Classic. SNES Classic.
the SNES Classic could have got it, I guess. I don't even.
Or The
ever say.
Witcher.
Sure, or the Xbox One X. None of it makes sense.
No.
Thank you, everybody in the chat, for stopping by and participating in this with us. This was a lot of fun. We eventually got our Skype stuff figured out. And Alex, man, good to meet you, dude. This was so much fun. I'm so glad that you got to make it. Jean-Luc is in the chat. I'm sorry that you couldn't be here with us, but we argued for you. And if you guys wouldn't mind, if you're in the chat, hitting a thumbs up. If you're watching this later, giving a thumbs up. Subscribe to the We the Nerdy channel on youtube.com/We the Nerdy. Tell all your friends and your mother and your grandmother. Otherwise, this is the Game of the Year 2017 for We the Nerdy. I'm Sean Capri with Garrett Bland, Andrew Semicek, and Chris Berto, and Alex Handziuk with his hands-on 1-2 switch. We'll see you guys later. I'm cutting the feed now. Goodbye.
Bye.